Isang maligayang pagbati mga ka-UAPSA, mapagpalang araw sa lahat ng ating mga manonood, panauhing pandangal at mga miyembro na nagsidalo para sa programa natin sa araw na ito. Ako ang inyong lingkod, mula sa Universidad ng Adamson Maria Gracia Barria na magsisilbing tagapamahala para sa ating programa sa hapon na ito. Inaanyayahan ko ang lahat na ihanda ang inyong mga sarili para sa panalangin at susundan ito ng pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Oh my gosh.
Ama namin, pakinggan mo po ang pagtawag namin sa iyong banal na pangalan. Basbasan mo po ang aming pagtitiis at kami kaluguran mo sa araw na ito. Pagyamanin mo po, Panginoon, at maging nakaayon sa iyong kalooban ang aming pagkikita-kita mula sa simula hanggang katapusan. Masalamin nawa namin ang layunin mong dakila sa aming buhay at may sagawa namin ngayon ang aming mga gawain na may kabutihan at pag-ibig sa aming kapwa. Kami po'y naninikluhod sa iyong harapan na kami iyong patnubayan at iwaksi sa aming kaisipan ang anumang masasamang kaisipan, inggit at pakikipag-alit sa aming mga kasama. Bigyan mo kami ng sapat na lakas at katalinuhan upang maibahagi naman namin ang aming makakaya sa aming mga kasama sa pagtitipon na ito. Panalangin namin ang lahat ng ito sa pangalan ng iyong bugtong na anak na si Jesus. Amen.
Kababayan, ang pambansang awit ng Pilipinas.
Kayang mag-ibig, telas na sinakanan, alam ng puso, sa titik mo'y buhay. Upang hinirang, kuya ka ng mag-ibig, sa manlulupin, di ka pasisigil, sa nagtatagtutok sa simoy at sa langit kong pagaw, ay hinatang tulang awit sa pagkayang minamahal. Ang isang ng matawad mo'y tagumpay na nagtitindig, ang bituin at araw niya kailan pa may di magtitindig.
Maraming salamat sa inyong pakikiisa. Ngayon ay tinatawagan natin ang ating pangkalahatang kalihim, Ginoong 𝐵𝗫 ng Institusyong Pangteknolohikal ng Maynila para pangunahan ang patawag sa mga balangay.
Good day, everyone. The United Architects of the Philippines Student Auxiliary Roll Call of Chapters. From Area A, District A1A, Lyceum Northwestern University, Pangasinan State University Urdaneta, St. Louis College, St. Louis University Baguio, University of Baguio, University of Luzon, University of Pangasinan FINMA, University of the Cordilleras, University Urdaneta City University. From District A1B, Abra Valley Colleges, Divine Word College of Lawag, Northwestern University, University of Northern Philippines. From District A1C, Cagayan State University Carig, St. Mary's University Bayombong, Isabela State University, University of St. Louis Tugigaraw, University of La Salette Santiago. From District A2, Angeles University Foundation, Bataan Heroes College, Bataan Peninsula State University, Bulacan State University, Columban College, Don Honorio Ventura State University, Holy Angel University, Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology, Tarlac State University, and University of the Assumption. From District A345, New Era University, Technological Institute of the Philippines, Quezon City, University of the East Caloocan, University of the Philippines, Diliman, and Rizal Technological University. From Area B, District B1, Far Eastern University, National University, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Technological Institute of the Philippines, Manila, and University of Santo Tomas. From District B2, Adamson University, Mapua University, Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Maynila, and Technological University of the Philippines. From District B3, Cavite State University, De La Salle University, Dasmariñas, Lyceum of the Philippines, Cavite, National College of Science and Technology, Universal Colleges of Parañaque, and University of Perpetual Health System Delta, Molino. From District B4, Batangas State University, Divine Word College of Calapan, Malayan Colleges of Laguna, Manuel S. N. Vergara University Foundation, University of Batangas Lipa, Occidental Mindoro State College, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Lopez, Quezon, Palawan State University, and University of Perpetual Health System Delta, Calamba. From District B5, University of Santo Tomas Legazpi, Bicol University, Bicol State College of Applied Science and Technology, Sorsogon State University, University of Northwestern Philippines, University of Nueva Cáceres, and University of St. Anthony. From Area C, District C1, Bohol Island State University, Cebu Institute of Technology University, University of San Carlos, University of Southern Philippines Foundation, University of Visayas, and Southwestern University. From District C2, Foundation University, La Consolacion College, Bacolod, Negros Oriental State University, Southland College, and Siliman University. From District C3, Eastern Visayas State University, Northwest Samar State University, and Samar State University. From District C4, Aklan State University, Capiz State University, Iloilo Science and Technology University, University of Antique, and University of San Agustin. From Area D, District D1, Ateneo de Davao University, Notre Dame of Dadiñas University, University of Immaculate Conception, University of Mindanao, Malayan Colleges Mindanao, and University of the Philippines, Mindanao. From District D2, Western Mindanao State University. From District D3, FINMA Cagayan de Oro College, St. Joseph University, St. Joseph Institute of Technology, Butuan, Surigao Education Center, University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines. From District D4, LaSalle University Osamis, and Lyceum of Iligan Foundation.
Maraming salamat po, Kalihim Cruz. Para formal na simula ng ating programa ng ating Balangkasan, aming malugod na pinakikilala ang ating pambansang Vice-Presidenteng Tagapamahala, Binibining 𝙤𝙗𝙖𝙤 ng pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila para sa kanyang pambungad na pahayag.
Isang malugod na pagbati sa mga kagalang-galang na panauhin sa araw na ito. Architect Janice Echeverry Quintano, Architect Jean Lambert Giron, at Architect Adrian Tampolino. Sa mga miyembro at opisyal ng nagkakaisang mga arkitekto ng Pilipinas, sa mga miyembro ng UAPSA, maraming salamat sa pagdalo at pakikinig. Bilang tumatayong pambansang Vice-Presidente ng UAPSA, ako ay nagagalak na nagkaroon tayo ng plataforma para mapag-usapan ang mga issue na ating kinaharap bilang organisasyon. Ngayong araw, naway magbigay linaw kung ano ang ating mga limitasyon at kung anong maaari pa nating malagpasan bilang isang lupon ng mga estudyante nagsisilbi para sa ating mga kapwa. Ito ay isang oportunidad upang maidinig, maipahayag at mapalakas ang mga boses ng mga miyembro at maging mga naglilingkod sa organisasyong patungo lamang sa pagsulong ng ikabubuti ng UAPSA. Ako po si 𝙤𝙗𝙖𝙤 na bumabati ng magandang hapon. Muling nagpapasalamat at humihiling ng naway maging makabuluhan ang ating oras sa gaganaping balangkasan. Maraming salamat at mabuhay ang UAPSA.
Maraming salamat sa makabuluhang mensahe, 𝐵𝚰𝙆. At bago tayo tumungo sa susunod na parte ng programa, ating muling kikilalanin ng ating mga butihing sponsors para sa balangkasang ito. Para sa ating mga membership partners, 𝗵𝗽𝗀𝗀 Clothing, CTTX, Esmeralda PH, Faith4, Ymir, Microcad, Plantair, Casa Villanueva, Skinovit Skincare Clinic, International Academy Manila, Creo PH, Daily Coffee and Tea, Etodes, Foundry, Maker Carl, Mini Craft Studio, at ang Project Workshop. Para sa ating media and partnership partner, ang Lantawan Magazine, taos-puso po kami nagpapasalamat sa inyong lahat. At ngayon, itutungo na tayo sa pinakahihintay na parte ng ating programa. Aking ibinibigay ang entablado sa ating puno ng balangkasan binibining Angel Compañero mula sa Lyceum University Foundation Iligan para sa pagbalik tanaw natin sa nakaraang balangkasan.
In 2019 Prevention of Illegal Practices, defining the boundaries on what services can be offered by architecture students without violating RA 9266. Resolution number 1. Whereas there is no direct law or code that protects students who design a building on a specific purpose, such as personal portfolio and academic purposes, but not for construction, to possess a plan he designed when a licensed architect has used and possessed it without legal approval. Whereas most of the architecture students' designs and works that is not under apprenticeship are being used and presented as the architect's design through commissioned works of architects without giving the right compensation to the student is agreed by both parties, whereas there is no indication in the law of the specific types of services a student can and cannot do, which leads students to give services and receive improper compensation for it. Now, therefore, be it resolved as it is hereby resolved. Resolved that there should be a reprimand, if applicable, in either law or ethics, if the design made by a student for academic purposes or personal portfolio is used for construction and possession as a licensed architect, unless agreed by both the architect and students legally. Resolved that there should be a mutual agreement in form of black and white of both architect and student that the student's design and works can be used and presented as an architect's own design. Resolved that there should be an amendment in the law, or at least a resolution from PR BOA or whoever is responsible, that specifies what types of services can be offered by students, including the possible compensation. Resolved that the subject professional practice under the curriculum of architecture should also cover what services can students do and its possible wages. Resolved further that copies of this resolution be furnished by the UAPSA National Board for appropriate action.
Maraming salamat po sa pagbabalik tanaw, Binibining Angel Compañero. At sa pagkakataong ito, tinatawag ko ang isa pa nating tagapamahala ng Balangkasan. Ito ay si Alan Ross Bitan mula ng Universidad ng Mapua upang ipaliwanag ang mga patakaran at proseso ng ating Balangkasan.
Maraming salamat para sa ating binibining grasya. Para sa ating mga proseso at patakaran sa Balangkasan ngayong araw, una, ang tagapagsalita o ang mga tagapagsalita nating panauhin ay ating bibigyan lamang ng tig 15 minuto upang ilahad ang kanilang mga panig. Pangalawa, sa mga lupon ng ating reaktor ay bibigyan din natin ng tig 3 minuto upang ilahad ang kanilang mga saloobin ukol sa ating paksa. Susunod, sila rin ay maaari lamang maglahad ng kanilang mga saloobin ukol sa paksang binabalangkas sa yugto pagkatapos maglahad ng ating mga tagapagsalita. Pang-apat, maaari lamang nilang sagutin ang mga tagapagsalita at sa kanilang mga katanungan at hinaing sa paksang binabalangkas sa yugto ng sama-sama at bukas na talakayan. Panglima, ang lahat ng kasapi sa talakayan ay inaasahang susunod sa maayos na pagbabalangkas at mahigpit na pinagbabawal ang pagtutunayaw, paninirang puri, karahasan o alinmang anyo, personal man o verbal na atake sa kabilang panig. Ang ating talakayan ay tatagal lamang ng 45 minuto. Pang-anim, gaganapin naman ang pagsasaayos ng binalangkas na paksa at pagbuo ng bagong panukala sa pagtatapos ng ating talakayan. Sa yugtong ito ay hindi na maaaring magkomento o anumang bagay na ibibigay na saloobin ng sinumang kasapi ng ating talakayan. At ikahuli, ang pagtatanghal ng ginawang panukala ay gaganapin sa pinakahuling parte ng programa na kung saay sa puntong ito, lahat ng nakasulat sa binalangkas na dokumento ay pinalna at hindi na maaari pang baguhin. Student Auxiliary o Junior Art o sa Pilipino, kaagapay estudyante o leader estudyante. Ito ang ating paksa ngayong araw na naglalayong linawin ang mga saklaw na ating ginagampanan bilang nagbubuklod sa ating abang organisasyon ng mga profesional, ang UAP, at sa buong populasyon ng ating mga nakatalang miyembro na nakasalukuyang kumukuha ng programang arkitektura. Ito ay isang napapanahong issue na nais nating mapagtuunan ng pansin kung ang mga gampanin at mga responsibilidad at kung ang may pangangailangan na bang baguhin para sa mga pulisiyang nakasasaklaw para sa ating mga miyembro. Mula rito, ating sisimulan sa katanungan na, dapat na bang baguhin ang saklaw ng mga kakayahan ng organisasyon upang mapaglingkuran ng sapat ang ating mga miyembro kahit sa panahon ng pandemya at sa mga susunod pa. Bago natin simulan at buksan ang ating diskusyon, ating kilalanin ang mga panauhin para sa hapong ito. Mula sa una nating presentasyon na tagapagtalumpati, siya ay isang miyembro ng kagawaran ng mga akademiko at kasalukuyang tagapayo ng balangay ng UAPSA mula sa pamantasan ng Silangan, Caloocan, ating kilalanin Architect Janice Maria Irene Echeveri-Quintano. Mula naman sa lupon ng mga estudyante at hinirang mula sa Universidad ng Cordilleras, ang ating Vice Presidente para sa Area A, Ginoong Ray Michael Benjamin Piloden. Mula naman sa lupon ng ating mga reaktor, mula sa UAPSA, siya ay nagsilbi ng 2 taon bilang kinatawang tagapangulo ng Pambansang Komisyon sa Paglalathala ng UAPSA mula sa Kolehiyo ng La Consolacion, Bacolod. Pinakikilala ko Ginoong John Pierre Harmonilla, na sinusundan naman ng Ginoong naglingkod din bilang presidente naman sa pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila noong 2018-2019 at bilang presidente ng Kataas-Taasang Konsehong Pang-Estudyante o SSG noong 1920, Ginoong John Benedict Bien. Mula naman sa Universidad ng Santo Tomas, ang ating kasalukuyang pambansang taga-suri. Mula sa UAPSA, Ginoong Zion Enrico Lico. At hindi pahuhuli ang ating mga panauhin mula sa lupon ng mga profesional, akademiko at arkitekto. Ang susunod nating panauhin ay isang rehistradong real estate broker at praktisadong arkitekto sa bansa ng Singapore, Architect Adrian Tampolino, na sinusundan rin naman ng isa pang arkitekto at parehong akademiko, environmental planner at master plumber, Architect Jean Lambert Quiron. At dito na nga po tayo magsisimula mula sa una nating tagapagsalitang panauhin sa Universidad ng Cordilleras, Ginoong Ray Michael Benjamin Piloden, para sa kanyang talumpati.
Oh my Lord. All right. Thank you very much. Good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here today. We're currently our topic for this afternoon would be student auxiliary versus junior arm. But before everything, I'd like to at least bring out what are the definitions of terms, the definition and purpose of UAPSA. The United Architects of the Philippines Student Auxiliary is the prime and duly recognized student organization of the United Architects of the Philippines. Um, it was established in 1989 as an arm and junior partner of the UAP. Its purpose is to motivate and instill discipline among architectural students and to propagate the goals and aspirations of all architects. Now, we would like to emphasize what is the difference between student auxiliary as compared to being a junior arm. Now, let's see the definition of an actual auxiliary. Auxiliary, that would be basically providing supplementary or additional help and support, while an arm would be a branch or division of a company or an organization. So it kind of conflicts itself. If ever we're looking at the actual definition of UAPSA. So anyways, what are we? Are we a student auxiliary? Are we just there to be support, or are we an arm? Are we there as just it's like as the next generation of architects? So anyways, we're going to be trying to discuss this throughout this topic. It's like if ever I'll try to emphasize it a little bit more during the next during the next points. But anyways, what we're trying to achieve with this Balangkasan is basically we would like to be treated as the next generation of architects, not just as a support, because UAPSA is very underutilized. What I mean by underutilized, though, is we're not used in such a way that we're actually effective in the long term. Yes, it's like we'll always be tackling the needs of the students. That's our main purpose. But we're not tackling what's gonna come up next. It's like we're not the ones there as decision makers. We're just there as the people who just receive whatever the UAP decides. And that's not a jab on the UAP. It's like we still want to be part of it. We are basically a part of them. We're just a junior arm. We're the next generation. So we want to be part. We just I'm already rambling here basically. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'll just get to my next point. The architectural profession always has a need for constant progress. Why do I say this? Because the objective of the UAP, this is taken directly from the UAP website, is to establish and promote the highest standards of ethical conduct and professional excellence in the practice and service of architecture through strict adherence with the laws and codes that protect and govern it. It's also there to maintain the highest standards of architectural education and practice. This can be done through the conduct of research in architecture and architecture-related subjects for the academic curricula in architecture and the continuing professional development program. So it just says there that we always have to keep up a standard. So exactly how do we keep up the standard as the profession grows? That would be through the next generation of architects. The next generation, the UAPSA, yung mga upcoming na rin. Now, if ever you need another example for why the architecture profession always needs constant progress, you can look directly at the CPD system. The CPD system, or the continuing professional development, is a term used to describe the learning activities professionals engage in to develop and enhance their abilities. CPD enables learning to become conscious and proactive rather than passive and reactive. CPD is the holistic commitment of professionals towards the enhancement of personal skills and proficiency throughout their careers. Engaging in continuing professional development ensures that both academic and practical qualifications do not become outdated or obsolete. And it allows individuals to continually upskill or reskill regardless of occupation age or educational level. So anyways, it's like, imagine this. As an architect that's been through almost everything, later you're around, let's say 40, 50 years old, do you really think that, especially with the older generation, especially with the previous generation that's not as how do you say this, up to date with the current, the current happenings with the world, or they're not up to date with the current softwares, techniques. It's like they have a hard time grasping at these new concepts, because it's like, as they say, it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Again, that's not a bad thing. That's really not a bad thing. So anyways, it's like we would like it's what is the most effective way, basically, what is the most effective way to ensure that there's growth in the profession. You look towards the younger generation, and you hone their skills. You actually teach you actually give them a voice, more of a say in what for their future. This brings me to my next point. The need for UAPSA's involvement in UAP affairs. Well, as correspondent, it's like you can argue that UAPSA's a big part of what UAP does. It's like UAPSA is already a part of what UAP does, but in correspondence of what's happening on the ground, the local chapter reports, and in light of special concerns in areas of education and academic symposiums, colloquia, how are we involved if we're just made to digest or ingest the decisions made by the UAP without given proper perspective or proper input in how these things are actually implemented? Because again, it's like, if ever you actually see a lot of the Balangkasans done by the UAP, you rarely see UAPSA in any of it. In any of the events that we bring out, we are usually pushed to the fore. We're pushed to the background, as we're usually utilized as support. Again, that's not right? It's like, aren't we the junior arm? Aren't we the next generation of architects? Shouldn't we be front and center with you guys, by your side, as stated by the very definition of UAPSA? It's an arm and a junior partner. So exactly why is it being utilized as support instead of its purpose? Anyways, in regards to that, also, we would also like, it's like, in regards to saying that how are we involved if ever we just digest their decisions without giving proper perspective or input, is that would also be the case with exploring current affairs, or exploring things that are a little bit broader than just UAPSA, or just broader than UAPSA, such as things in the current affairs. I don't think we're allowed to do that. An example of that would be UAPSA publications. Currently, UAPSA publications, or Halidiki publications, is very independent. Is an independent basically. Sorry, has autonomy. Sorry, I was reading something else. No, anyways, it's like, with your UAPSA publications, we're kept in the box. You're not allowed to talk about anything that's out from that. It's like you're just kept within that area. Again, that's not a bad thing. In certain cases, that's not a bad thing. But in this case, it's like showcasing the concerns of the students. How can UAPSA keep its prime jurisdiction if ever we're very selective in what we actually do? It's like we're trying to enable. It's like the main point of view of publications is basically to enable a discussion, but we're limited to what we're actually allowed to showcase or talk about because we need to keep up appearances. And that's really not right. It's really not right. As an ending form of my argument, I'd like to bring up a quote by the late Senator Miriam Defensor-Santiago. Academic terrorism has no ground in the academe. Walang tunay na guro ang nagagalit sa ignorante. Because it's their job to cure ignorance. Limiting us in such a way just propels ignorance. So, anyways, I think that ends my argument for now. I'm sure I still had points, but I don't think I was able to properly dispense that. But we can talk about that more later. Thank you very much.
Maraming salamat sa pagsasalatag ng inyong mga punto, Ginoong Ray. Ang sunod naman nating pauunlakan ang ating susunod na tagapayo mula sa Universidad ng Silangan, Caloocan, Architect Janice Maria Irene Echeverry Quintano.
I will be discussing on Tagalog because I think your program is patterned using our local language. Okay, ang nakuha ko dun sa punto, kanina may 3 punto. Isa ay tungkol sa UAPSA bilang isang junior arm. Pangalawa, yung pagkakaroon ng sariling boses ng UAPSA publication. Pangatlo is yung pagsali or pagkakaroon ng involvement ng UAPSA sa UAP affairs. So, hindi ko ipupunto na yung negatibo. Ang aking ipupunto bakit ganun yung naging patakaran o kaya bakit ganun yung sistema na pinapagawa sa inyo. Ito ay base sa aking obserbasyon. Una, bilang isang past president ng Kamana Baylaga chapter. Pangalawa, obserbasyon ko bilang past district secretary ng Area A4. Pangatlo, bilang miyembro ng iba-ibang komite ng UAP National. So, ito yung base sa aking obserbasyon. At pangalawa, bilang akademiko. So, bilang guro at advisor ng UAPSA. So, una, yung sabi nyo, junior arm, hindi auxiliary or support. Siguro, it's more on dun sa bilang representasyon kayo ng UAP sa mga eskwelahan. Okay, so hindi dahil ang dating kasi parang may term kanina underutilized. Ito ay depende sa chapter, no? Sa pagka-obserba ko kasi kung paano kayo mini-mentor. Ang mentors bilang yung teachers ninyo, may mentors din bilang kasama yung mga mother chapters ninyo. So, sa aking opinion, depende kung paano kayo utilize ng mother chapter ninyo. Maraming mother chapters na maganda ang utilization nila for UAPSA, na sila ay junior arm. Yun ang kanilang approach doon. Hindi lang basta support. Okay? Ang nakita ko pang isang punto, yung tungkol sa involvement, yung decision making. Curious ako, anong klaseng decisions yung gusto nyo magkaroon kayo ng sariling stand? Yun kasi hinahanap ko din kanina. Hindi ako nagre-react, I'm presenting na ano ba, bilang UAP kasi, we have our own bylaws to follow and we have our own decisions as professionals. Ngayon, as UAPSA, what particular decisions ang gusto niyo magkaroon kayo ng sarili niyong stand? Okay? Later sa reactors, i-clear out na lang din tungkol dito. Then, the UAP event linkages, yung something affairs, UAP affairs, there's a definition or there's a certain function for the UAPSA to be involved sa UAP affairs. Number one, it's immersion, it's exposure. Hindi lang kasi siya basta events. You were given the chance to attend webinars, seminars, to meet foreign, local architects, practicing architects, sponsors na introducing building materials, technology. Yun yung chance na meron kayo. It's not that grand, but it's malaki yung, pinipilit ko siyang Tagalogin na malaki yung magiging epekto noon sa inyo bilang estudyante pagkatapos nyo mag-aral, pag naging parte na kayo ng graduate auxiliary, at pag nag-lisensya na kayo. Yung connection na yon, yung network na yon, stagnant siya ngayon, pero pagdating ng katagalan, pag may kailangan kayong may idea na pumasok sa utak nyo at gusto nyo gumamit ng bagong technology, ito yung mga items na nakuha nyo during those events. Okay? May kailangan kang work, tapos si certain architect, ito yung field of practice niya, ito yung specialization niya. So, maglilin ka towards applying for that architect. So, nandun yung exposure, nandun yung immersion. Then, yung task segregation, tasking, about sinasabi niyo sa UAPSA, which is kanina, it's also about decision making. So, for me kasi, how heavy ba yung magiging body, yung magiging executive board ninyo, how big yung gusto nilang ipakitang responsibility, at kaya ba nila, hindi ko ginajudge or kinipasyon, pero there's a certain limitation kasi kung hanggang saan yung kaya nyo i-provide per responsibility and liability. That's why kayo ay in tandem with UAP. It's the professionals, they have their ethics, we have our ethics, we have our own responsibility, we have our own code to follow, and it makes it standardized, it makes it organized somehow, no? And pag si UAPSA, somehow, on some parts, lumayo siya, sinong possible na sasalo if ever nagkaroon tayo ng aberya, nagkaroon tayo ng problem? I'm not saying na it's bad, okay? What I'm saying is up to what extent yung kaya niyong panindigan on that part, especially on the publication. There's nothing wrong with student journalism, with voicing out your ideas, but it's being filtered. Number one, napaka-sensitive ng media, especially now, online. Diba? There's a lot of negativity. We need to do fact-checking. What if there's the certain idea or the certain opinion posted under the publication, na-overlook siya, hindi siya relatively na totoo. So, paano mangyayari doon? Number two, in terms of the publication, finances. UAPSA, I know, has their own finances, but I'm not sure if it's being related to UAP or what. But I know that you have your own finances. But the whole UAPSA membership, are they, I'm speaking in English, ang miyembro ba, kabuuang miyembro ng UAPSA ba, ay handa kung sila ay magiging member, magbabayad, willing ba silang yung parte ng pera ninyo gagamitin namin sa publication, at kahit anong pwede nating sabihin, isasabihin natin dito. Marami tayong opinion. Kailangan natin respetuhin yung mga opinion na yun. Ngayon, lahat ba sila oo, pag lumabas yung opinion na yun? Tapos, hindi makakatulong naman sa ating lahat ito. ang kaso. Pero, di ba, parte yan, gastos namin yan. Yun. So, handa ba ang National Board pagdating sa ganung issues? Okay? Tapos, kaya bang i-sustain kung nagkaroon ng sariling voice at stand ng publication? Kaya bang i-maintain? Maa-attain ba yung goal na gusto nyo mangyari? Na magkakaroon kami ng freedom to express. Kasi ito yung gusto namin ipakita. Ito yung mga puntos na kailangan mamulat na yung kapwa ng estudyante. Yun yung tanong, yun yung punto, concern ko. Masusustain nyo ba? Mami-maintain ba siya? Maa-attain ba yung goal na freedom of speech kami? Kasi, kaya siya may restrictions, kaya siya may limitations. Ang mangyayari, kung magkaroon na ng filtering, yung mga reports, yung mga essays, yung mga pinapublish sa UAPSA publication. Dahil pinapangalagaan din kayo ng UAP bilang under pa rin kayo ng UAP. Ang UAP isang professional org, hindi ito isang organisasyon na pwede din magsabi ng political views or magsabi ng kanilang opinion sa iba pang bagay. Dahil tayo ay isang professional org, ang inaalagaan natin ay ang kayo bilang estudyante at paano kayo magiging arkitekto. Hindi siya ganoon ka boga ng inisip natin na frontline center na kami kami ay junior architects. Hindi siya nag-visualize, hindi siya tangible eh. Kumbaga hindi siya isang object na nakikita. So, maliliit na steps yung dinadaanan ninyo. At ito yung mga bagay na hindi pa ni agad na na-appreciate yung pag-involve sa events, pag-involve sa mga webinars, sa mga seminars, yung pag-limit ng boses. So, yun. Then, yung professional progress, may punto kanina tungkol sa CPD. Okay, ito ibinibigay sa mga professional. Bakit? Ang pagiging estudyante sa edukasyon na meron tayo ngayon ay pag-absorb ng mga teorya, ng mga core na meron si architecture. Okay? Piniprepare pa lang niya kayo, yung 5 years na yun, piniprepare pa lang niya kayo. Pagka-graduate ninyo, you have your 2 years diversified experience para doon sa training na yun, doon sa experience na yun. At yung 7 taon na yun, doon pala magti-take off yung pagiging arkitekto ninyo kung nag-lisensya kayo. Yung sabi nga, di ba, ang pag-aaral, hindi siya nakakulong sa 4 na kwarto. Meron na tayong online learning. Hindi siya nakakulong sa Zoom, sa Google Meet. Ang pag-aaral ay tuloy-tuloy. Ganon din pag professional ka na. Baka ang i-imagine ninyo kasi, bakit hindi pa umpisahan mula sa lower part, si estudyante pa lang, i-expose nyo na kami sa ganyang practice, i-expose nyo na kami sa ganyang kalakaran. Kasi uulitin ko yung sinabi ko kanina, may kaakibat na responsibilidad, may kaakibat na code of ethics and everything, yung pagiging professional. Yung ngayon, nararamdaman nyo ngayon, kahit ano pwede nyo i-bato, pwedeng gawin, diba? So, yun yung magiging parte ng pag-aaral ninyo. Kasama siya. Okay, kasama siya sa mga bagay na i-experience ninyo. Okay? Tapos, last would be the limiting in terms of ignorance. Yes, in some point, sinabi ni Senator Miriam, the one quoted by the other speaker. Pero, akin kasi, napakalawak na meron ng internet, napakalawak na ng nararating ng teknolohiya natin. Ang pag-aaral, ang pagiging ignorante, hinihinto na lang sa isang tao. Kung hindi ka gagawa ng paraan para matuto, nasa sa iyo yun. Okay? Pero itong pagiging junior arm at student auxiliary. Kaya tayo student auxiliary, hindi lang dahil suporta tayo. Okay? Suporta tayo para tayo din, suportahan din natin yung sarili natin na maging representasyon na tayo ay yung representasyon ng UAP on the schools. Okay? So, hindi man tayo restrict ng ethics, ng code ng responsibility, ng laws, at least representasyon tayo ng UAP. Okay? So, yun yung masasabi ko. Walang masama dun sa gusto nyo i-point out. Ang opinion ko lang is, may mga hangganan pa din. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig. At sana na explain ako yung side ng pagiging student auxiliary. Okay? At yung mga punto na gusto ko i-share base din dun sa in-explain yung unang speaker. Maraming salamat.
Maraming para sa inyong mensahe. Muli, tayo ngayon ay tutungo na sa yugto ng ating mga reaktor. Mula sa ating mga panauhin, uunahin natin mula sa lupon ng mga arkitekto at akademiko. Una na po tayo, Architect 𝙤𝙤𝙤.
Sabi niyo.
Muli, ang ating mga panauhin mula sa lupon ng mga reaktor ay mayroon lamang tigda 3 minuto.
Okay. So magandang hapon sa lahat. So first, I am speaking in behalf of 3 aspects, no. Una, bilang dating UAPSA NBD rin. Pangalawa, na dating UAPSA chairperson din, okay? At pangatlo, bilang arkitekto, okay? So isa sa mga nabanggit kanina is yung bibigyan natin ng say or ng decision making ang mga estudyante, okay? Na nasa student auxiliary agad. Ngayon, syempre, hindi mo na pwede agad yan. Bakit? Kasi number 1, as future professionals, we should be law-abiding. And when I talk about law-abiding, one of the policies na dapat natin i-observe as early as now is yung tinatawag nating Code of Ethics. And in the Code of Ethics of Architecture, okay, trabaho ng mga arkitekto, nagabayan yung mga aspirants sa profession. And kayo yon, yung mga estudyante. Ngayon, syempre, katulad nga ng sinabi ni Ms. 𝙤𝙤𝙤 kanina, ni Architect 𝗵𝗴𝗴𝗏, okay, na ang mga estudyante ay hindi naman nililimitahan, okay? Hindi nililimitahan ang kalayaan nyo na i-express kung ano yung gusto nyong iparating, lalong-lalo na kung para ito sa ikabubuti ng lahat. However, ganito kasi yan, okay? As early as now, pag nagkaroon ng kahit napakaliit na pagkakamali mas madaling mapositive sa inyo. Maniwala kayo sa akin, yung mga pagkakamali ninyo, pagdidiinan yan ng tao. Sabihin na natin masyadong ideal, pero yun yung nangyayari. So imagine niyo kayo bilang mga estudyante ay nagkaroon ng isang maliit na pagkakamali na pwedeng palakihin ng ibang tao. Nag-uumpisa pa lang kayo, pwede nang mamatay yung karera nyo. Okay? Nagigets nyo? That's why ang trabaho ng mga arkitekto is to be on the foreground. Okay? At kayo yung nasa background. Why? Kasi kung meron man pagkakamali ang mga estudyante habang maaga sa kanilang pagdedesisyon, kami ang sasalo ng liability. Okay? Yan ang trabaho namin. For example, naalala ko nung ako ay chairperson ng UAPSA, nagkaroon ng problema sa isang venue regarding pera. Okay? Siyempre yung mga, alam mo yan, okay. May mga estudyante ngayon na sa isang venue, hindi sila pinapauwi dahil nagka-problema sa pera. mga estudyante itong mga to at syempre wala pang pera ito. Nagkaroon ng isang maliit na pagkakamali sa decision making to the point na nagkaroon ng deficiency sa pera. 5 digits yung kinulang. Okay? At hindi mabayaran yung venue. So bilang advisor, anong trabaho ko? Ako yung sumalo ng liability na bunuhan ko muna. Diba? Okay. So anong nangyari? Pag iniwan namin yung mga estudyante or yung student auxiliary in the forefront of decision making, salong-salo nyo yung liability to the point na kaka-18 pa lang nung iba sa mga estudyante, pwede na kayong makulong or mademanda or pwede na kayong hindi ipag-take ng board exam habang buhay kasi nasa batas yan. Na pag halimbawa, nagkaroon ka ng misconduct, okay, bago ka mag-take ng board exam, eh hindi ka na nila pwedeng ipag-take ng exam sa umpisa pa lang. Kasi na-practice mo na, okay, na hindi ka pa arkitekto, may traces of being unprofessional. And we do not welcome those kinds of actions, okay, para maging arkitekto. Isa yan. Okay? Kaya kailangan yung intindihin na dapat yung architects ang nasa foreground muna. Okay? Kasi ganito lang yan eh. Parang puno lang yan. It starts with the seed, then tutubo yung puno, then saka siya mamumunga. Diba? So kung kayo bilang estudyante, buto pa lang kayo or punla pa lang kayo, diba? Doon pa lang, nasira na kayo. Paano pa kayo mag-grow? Diba? And bilang mga professional na naka-experience na rin ng mga pagkakamali nung kami ay mga bata pa or estudyante pa, kami ang binibigay namin sa mga bata ay yung wisdom. Magkaiba kasi ang knowledge at wisdom. For example, knowledge. Alam mo kung ano yung mali. Pero pag sinabi mong wisdom, yan yung experience namin sa mga dati naming pagkakamali. Part namin yan sa inyo para hindi nyo na maulit. Para pagdating sa next generation, which is kayo, mas magaling kayo sa amin. And that is our objective as architects.
Maraming salamat, Architect Giron. Maaari po natin ipagpatuloy ang diskusyon mamaya sa bukas na talakayan. Atin naman pong susundan ito ng reaksyon mula sa lupon pa rin ng mga arkitekto at profesional. Maaari na po kayong pumasok, Architect Tampolino.
Hello, good afternoon. I would like to say na the organization has been expanding since the day that we left. So what I'm trying to say is that you don't need to vie kung kayo ba ay junior arm or student auxiliary. Because if you want to be a junior arm, it wouldn't be inclusive because baka magkaroon kayo ng idea na meron kayong age limit. And tandaan nyo, kung I don't know sa population nyo ngayon dahil ang dami nyo, maraming nagsa-second degree ng architecture at matatanda na itong mga to. Pag nag-junior arm kayo, baka lagyan kayo ng tawag dito, ng age limit. And second, kapag nag-junior arm kayo, there will be some perks and prestige and privilege na baka hindi nyo makuha kapag, nagreforma kayo. Tandaan nyo, you already have the platform and you already have the power. Kasi ang UAPSA naman, sa nakikita ko, based sa draft ng UAPSA policy manual nyo, it is already a junior arm and as well as a student auxiliary. Because kung pipilitin nyo talagang mag-do away sa pagiging student auxiliary, at the end of the day, UAP will probably just create another UAPSA sooner or later. Just like how architect Mike Guerrero started it. Na parang kayo mismo, pag naging independent kayo, baka lalo kayong, I don't know, sorry for the lack of term, baka lalo kayong mapariwara. Diba? Tama naman na may guidance, but however, you as a stakeholder of the profession, it is right na you have to voice out in such programs like this. Mas kailangan nyo ng programa rather than plataforma. Mas kailangan nyo ng programa rather than reforma. Lagi nyo tatandaan yan kasi yung programs, lagi nyo ma-expand yan. But however, baka maging kasi yan baka as a former UAPSA national officer, baka kasi maging exhausting yan sa inyo. Because always remember that you are a student, and a student ideally has a 5-year stint inside the school, meaning you also have responsibilities inside the school, not just na sasaluhin ng UAP yung liability. Okay? Tandaan nyo, dalawa ang platforms nyo. Inside the school and outside, and as a student auxiliary or as a student organization are under UAP. And last is, ayun, basta lagi niyo tandaan, programa rather than plataforma, rather than reforma. So yun lang. Thank you.
Hindi na po ba natin, ayan, maaga pong tinapos ni Architect Tampolino. Maaga pong tinapos ni Architect Tampolino ang kanyang reaksyon. Ngayon naman, tayo ay tutungo sa liga ng mga graduate auxiliary. Sisimulan natin kay Ginoong 𝗤𝙗𝙖𝙤𝙤. Maaari na po kayong magsalita.
So, isang malugod na pagbati sa lahat ng nanonood at sumusubaybay sa ating live stream. Maraming salamat at ako'y inyong napili at inimbitahan na maging panauhin sa inyong balangkasan. So, first and foremost, I kind of agree sa mga sinabi ni Architect Jan, but on behalf of the publications, since speaking as a former publications deputy ng UAPSA, ito lang kasi yung in terms of filtering or sa censorship, I think kailangan din natin maintindihan na yung fact-checking is the responsibility of the publication. It is a fundamental of journalism. And with regards to the student's voice, sinasabi niya kanina na na baka hindi mag-agree lahat ng students. In journalism, we have disclaimers such as in terms of opinions, we have disclaimers like the publication does not reflect the views and opinions of the student body nor of the whole organization. So, responsibility ng writers yung sinusulat nila, and it's also the responsibility of the editorial board ng publication. So, it's also a conversation starter since nga hindi sila nag-a-agree. Ito yung magsisimula ng talakayan tungkol sa kung ano mang issue ang nai-open ng publication. And it is also the responsibility of the student journalists na maghanap ng opinion sa kabilang partido. So it's not just one side of the story, it's both sides of the coin. And isa pa, if a school publication can produce articles without seeking approval from the admin and has full autonomy in decision making, why can't a publication of a national student organization under a professional organization do so? Bakit nagagawa nila na mag-produce ng articles pero kami hindi? Kasi sa experience ko, kailangan dadaan sa editorial board, then sa internal affairs director and EVP, sa UAP chair for UAPSA, and then sa director bago siya ma-publish. So, in that process, hindi na pa-publish kasi natatagalan sa UAPSA chair and hindi nila ina-approve dahil political siya. And so, I want to end this with saying that everything is political, but in terms of UAPSA publication, we only tackle the issues within the profession itself. That would be all. Thank you.
Ayan, maraming salamat. Ginoong mula naman sa pamantasan ng lungsod ng Maynila, ating paunlakan, Ginoong John Benedict Bien, para sa kanyang mga reaksyon.
Hi, good afternoon. So I'm speaking with my insights as a former UAPSA chapter president, a former part of the national officers as the COMELEC chair, and as a former university student council president of Pamantasan ng Lungsod ng Manila. So, yung bagay na to napagdaanan na rin namin as a student body, specifically sa Pamantasan. Kasi there are things na hindi na pag-communicate ng maayos between the administration and the student body. So, gusto ko sanang mag-share ng mga ginawang steps instead of i-point out natin isa-isa kung ano yung mga napag-usapang past problems. So, in terms of publication, separate si publication ng student body ng PLM sa student council. So, they have their own authority to publish anything. And it doesn't require the approval of the student admin. And there was once a time na nakasuhan sila, basta nagkaroon sila ng problem between the student administration because of a thing that they published na medyo political nga yung stance and medyo opposite to the stance of the university administration. So what happened there is, syempre, nagkaroon ng conflict sa pag-approve nung isa yung na-stop yung budget nila, ganyan. Pero at the end of the day, it was considering on our perspective na as working people, ganyan, as graduates, hindi siya ganun ka naging kalaking impact to the point na napariwara yung term na gagamitin ko rin, yung estudyante. It actually improved the whole PLM community because we have been more aware na dapat pala ganito yung gagawin. Also with the student council, there was once a stance na nagkaroon ng student council na kinagalit ng ng university administration, and they were almost threatened na tanggalin sila sa university. Pero at the end of the day, na-resolve pa rin. Kasi syempre malaking factor siguro dahil nagbago yung administration sa Maynila, etc. But on the other hand, important na yung student body din kasi nag-voice out. And yung binago namin dun sa process na yun, dahil nga naging medyo nagkaroon ng lack of communication, ay instead of agad-agad kaming nagbo-voice out na, ay, ito yung stance ng UAPSA National per se, we consulted the students. Nagsimula kaming maghambig ng mga estudyante. Ano ba yung opinion nyo sa paksang to? Tapos, tsaka namin dinevelop yung magiging stance ng isang student council patungkol sa issue. Kunwari, error bill. Kunwari, yung ano pa ba yung mga naging issue? Yung mga extrajudicial killings, ganyan. In terms lang naman yun of my perspective as a student council officer. Pero in terms of UAPSA, syempre, it has still a lot of variances, differences. Pero at the end of the day, I think ganoon pa rin, dun pa rin siya magbe-base sa pakikipaghamig sa mga estudyante at pakikipag-communicate natin sa mga gusto nating development sa nakatataas natin.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Ben, para sa inyong mga testamento mula sa inyong background at experience. Ngayon naman, at hindi pa huhuli sa lupon ng ating nasyonal, ang ating taga-suri ng UAPSA, Ginoong 𝙤𝙤.
Ayan. Magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. No? Nagkasalita po ako bilang parte ng UAPSA at bilang leader at bilang naging parte na rin ng organizing committee ng iba't ibang events. I agree rin po sa mga sinabi ng ating mga butihing architects tungkol sa liability na at kung bibigyan tayo ng pagdedesisyon at baka mapahamak po tayo. Ang gusto lang po sana namin mangyari ay hindi naman po makuha yung soul freedom. Gusto lang po namin marinig at may makinig sana sa amin. Para po sa aking perspective, gusto ko lang pong bigyan diin na ang student representation sana ng architecture students tungkol sa iba't ibang mga desisyon sa field natin, lalo na po sa academe. Lalo na po ngayong pandemya, tayo po ay mas mainam po nating sana malaman kung ano-ano po yung mga suggestion at mga kasalukuyang pinagdadaanan ng mga estudyante. Sa tingin ko po, isa po itong malaking tulong sa academe, sa profs, at sa lahat ng mga estudyante dahil magiging daan po ito upang mas magkaroon ng diskurso at iba't ibang perspektibo para sa ikakabuti ng field. Pangalawa po, regarding po dun sa pagkakaroon sana ng rules of engagement sa tuwing magkakaroon o magiging parte ng organizing committee ang mga UAPSA members. Para po mas maging malinaw po sana kung saan nalilimitahan ang mga pwede namin gawin bilang mga estudyante. Hindi naman po ito pagkasara ng pinto sa aming pag-volunteer sa mga UAP events. Gusto lang rin po namin mapahalagan ang aming mga oras sapagkat estudyante rin po kami at may iba't ibang responsibilidad bukod sa pagiging organizing committee. Sinabi rin po ng speakers natin na tayo ay professional organization. Ang UAP ay professional organization, ang UAPSA ay professional organization. Bilang professionals, mahalaga rin pong sanang pahalagaan natin ang oras ng bawat isa, yung mga talentong ino-offer ng bawat isang iba't ibang estudyante na nagiging organizing committee at ng mga UAPSA students. At sa tingin ko magagawa rin ito kung papahalagaan natin ang perspektibo ng mga estudyante. Sa tingin ko po makakatulong ito upang hindi lamang sa online setup na isinasagawa natin ngayon, kung hindi pati rin sa face-to-face events sa mga susunod na taon. Ayun lamang po. Maraming salamat.
Ayan, maraming salamat, Ginoong Liko. Ngayon naman, ay atin na pong formal na sisimulan. Bagong lahat, inaanyayahan po natin ang lahat ng mga panauhin mula sa lupo ng mga tagapagsalita at lupo ng mga reaktor na magsipasok na po sa ating bukas na talakayan at malayang pag-uusap para sa diskursong ito ng Balangkasan 2021. And bigyan po natin ng kaunting pagkakataon ng ating mga kasama sa tech team para makapasok po ang ating mga panauhin. Ayan, kung inyo pong makikita, mula sa ating mga unang panauhing tagapagsalita, Architect 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 at ang ating Vice Presidente para sa Area A, Ginoong 𝚳𝚗𝚘𝚘𝚘𝚘 Sino po ba sa inyo ang gustong mauna para sagutin o magbigay ng komento sa punto ng mga ating tagapag-reactor mula sa kanila? Architect Janice, Ginoong Ray?
Yes, magandang hapon. Ay, narinig ko yung sarili ko. Okay na?
Okay na po.
Okay na. Yung punto ng reactors, about sa publication, yung censorship, fact-checking, nandun ako na responsibilidad mo bilang isang manunulat kung ano yung opinion na sinusulat mo. Nandun din ako na bilang isang manunulat, ikaw dapat ang responsable kung ano sinusulat mo, ito totoo o hindi. Pero, ito yung hangganan kasi na meron yung UAPSA sa publication. Dahil tayo ay naka-angkla sa bylaws at sa guidelines na meron si UAP, hindi rin naglalabas ng opinion at mga artikulo or sulatin ang UAP patungkol sa kanilang mga political views. Maingat din ang organization pagdating dyan. Maaaring nakikita nyo siya sa Facebook, sa Twitter, bilang personal na opinion, pero hindi siya parte ng publication. Una, dahil babalik ulit tayo sa liability, responsibility, and code of ethics. Naalala ninyo, sabi ni 𝚬𝚘𝚘𝗀 ba? Diba? Architecture is a noble profession. Diba? Sabi niya, ang tingin sa atin, nobility, at ang tingin sa practice natin is exempt to sa, sabi ni Sir Jeron, yung pagkaka-commit ba na maliliit na pagkakamali. At dahil doon, kung hangga't maaga pa, maaari ay mapipigilan kahit papaano na magkaroon tayo ng clash sa opinion ng iba. Hindi ko sinasabing mali na magkaroon ng opinion, pero ang akin kasi, lalo sa panahon ngayon, ayaw ko sabihin na pero paano ba, ang hirap mag-voice out ng opinion ngayon dahil ang daming mata, una-una online. Okay, lalo't pag inilipat mo pa siya sa isang publication. Na-imagine yung sinasabi ko. Ayoko sabihin yung term kasi baka, nagigets niyo naman, di ba? There's something with voicing out your opinions right now, even in social media. Okay, gets niyo yun. What more pag ipapublish natin siya? So, paano namin kayo poprotektahan kung na i-disclaimer ninyo na opinion ko to akong bahala dito. Okay? Paano klaseng suporta at tulong ang magagawa ng organisasyon, ng UAP, kung nag-stand on your own ka na? So parang, wala na kayong magagawa kasi opinion namin to. O sige, ibibigay namin sa inyo. Ang kaso, paano pag dumating yung punto na kailangan nyo na ng support? Ayoko sabihin yung term it's something to do with what's going on now. If you're updated with the current issues and political issues right now, okay, konting post, you'll never know what will happen to you. Ganon ka-critical tayo meron ngayon. Okay? Not unlike before. Okay? It's okay. Pero siguro, we set certain guidelines up to what extent yung pwede natin i-discuss for UAPSA publication na ito po yung gusto namin mga issues na maging involved kami. And ito yung gusto namin ilagay sa publication. Tapos, hindi naman magiging negative the impact sa inyo kahit mag-disclaimer kayo. Okay? Kasi, yun ang kagandahan ng pagsusulat 'di ba? Gusto nyo iparating yung gusto nyo idea. Pero, kailangan din, yung mother nyo, yung UAP, kaya din nila kayong saluhin. Okay? At si UAPSA, by its organization itself, kaya din kayong saluhin as a whole executive board, as a whole student body. Ang hirap kasi niya, pag ikaw na lang, dahil ikaw lang yung sulat, kasalanan mo na lang, bahala ka na. Hindi, kasama ko sa UAPSA. Hindi kasi sabi mo, ikaw lang bahala dyan. Ayun. So, yun yung concern ko. As much as possible, we wanted to be free in terms of speech, free in terms of opinions and everything. Pero di ba nga sabi nga nila, think before we speak, think before we click. Yun. So, yun yung parang gist ko, yun yung concern ko about this. It's okay, but we have to factor out anong klaseng current issues. Okay? I am a part of a political family. I'm discussing this being as I limit things I say. Okay? So, if you would be publishing it, the must big deal. Okay? It's also practicing you to be more professional in how you deal with things and how you speak of certain issues. Hindi porket may opinion ka dito sa bagay na to, mag-voice out ka na lang. So, it's making you mature thinking. Okay? And that practices you better. Hindi nyo siya na-appreciate ngayon. Pero yung post ka ng post na yun, kasi mainit ang ulo ka kasi negative issue to Pero pag nadadigest mo siya mas maayos, you're thinking, you have your grounds kung ano talaga ikaw. Kung negative doon ka ba sa negative side, positive side, or neutral ka. Ganun. So, mas na-assess nyo yung issue na gusto nyo i-address. Okay? So, yun yung point ko sa publication. There's nothing wrong if you wanted to push on with your freedom of speech. But remember, we are not privileged in freedom. We are granted by Constitution. Okay? Kaya tayo binigyan ng ganung bagay is para tayo din is ma-appreciate natin yung freedom na binigay na yun. Huwag na din natin siya abuso. Okay? And it comes with how we do our write-ups, how we tell our opinions and everything. Okay? Just be mindful lang din. If ever na pupush mo siya, yun. At least you know your magiging issues, magiging problems. Kahit kaya nyo siyang tanggapin. Dapat ganun yung maging mindset nyo. Okay? Thank you.
Okay. So, thank you, Architect Jan. Bale, ano lang po, I agree with that na may guidelines na isi-set yung yung organization ng UAPSA at yung UAP para magkaroon para maging on the same ground sila. But I think when it comes to fact checking, hindi naman po kasi basta-basta lang kung ano yung opinion kasi sa publication, pinag-uusapan rin po niya ng editorial board. And so, we would like also to be formal when it comes to our opinion. Kaya nga, medyo hindi lang kasi basta-basta yung pinapalabas na opinions sa sa publication. Of course, I think it would be best na alam ng UAP kung ano yung ilalabas na material, but also, why not instead of stop abruptly yung publications na ilabas kung ano yung gustong ilabas na opinion, how about, of course, we need to guide them also na syempre pag-iisipan ano yung magiging reaction nito. And I think it would be a good idea, but masyado sigurong labor intensive sa part ng UAP since mayroon kayong trabaho rin as professional architects and then sa org. So, I don't know, let's come up with a compromise on it when it comes to the publication na para lang may level ground ang UAP at UAPSA when it comes to publishing those kind of articles. Kasi sa aking experience bilang deputy ng publications, ultimo news article ng nangyaring event, natatagalan. And medyo nagkaano pa kami nun dahil sa standardized yung pagsusulat ng journalism And so parang minsan hindi aware yung nag-handle sa UAP kung paano isulat yung ganito. So parang doon yung conflict, I think. So it would also be best na aware ang UAP kung sa format ng pagsusulat. And ayun lang na kailangan sa writers and editorial board themselves rin yung responsibility ng kung ano yung style of writing na ilalabas nila. Oo, we can be negative, we can be positive, but when presenting opinion in writing, it's already a given fact na kailangan nakikita yung both sides and then mailalabas ng writer kung ano yung opinion niya, kung anong side ba siya pumapanig. So, yun lamang po. Salamat.
Ayan, maraming salamat Architect Janice at Ginoong Harmonilio. Siguro po sa puntong ito, naisip ko na buksan ang katanungan na ito sa sinasabi ni Ginoong Harmonilia patungkol sa common ground or ano ba ang progresibong aksyon. Gusto ko pong marinig sana natin ang hinaing or punto naman ng side ni Architect Tampolino at Architect Quiron. Lalo na galing po kayo as chairperson, Architect Quiron, ano po ang pwede nating aksyon para mapabilis kung ganito ang correspondence po ba o fast tracking ng ganitong mga artikulo. At para naman po kay Architect Tampolino, kung sa attention po o localized na mga artikulo naman, bilang NBD, ano po kaya ang pwede nating ilatag bilang NBD para ma-actionan at mabasa ng ating mga senior arkitekto sa UAP? Sige po, Architect Quiron.
Okay, number one, I must commend yung mga binanggit kanina no, na everything is political. Yes, I agree with that. Pero the definition of political kasi or politics is accompanied with the word logistics and process. So we have to observe protocols palagi. Okay? Now, kung ang problema natin ay sa protocols, kaya medyo mabagal yun na lumalabas yung mga articles natin or yung mga napapublish natin, I don't think ang issue na pag-uusapan dapat natin is yung content ng article, but yung sistema na kailangan nating ipatupad para mas mapabilis yung proseso. So, isa sa mga sinasuggest ko yan, for example, dati, di ba, para ma-approve yan, ang ginagawa ko nung chairperson ako, I have to set a meeting with UAPSA, secure ko yung venue, etc. and all. Ang daming nga asikasuhin, may budget pa kaming ayaalat, i-request pa namin dun sa admin, ang daming gagawin, di ba? Ngayon, kasi kung makikita nyo, may pros, may cons ang online interface. Mapaklase man yan or meeting. Pero ang nakikita ko kasi ngayon, since meron ng online interface, okay, pwede na kayo magpatawag ng meeting anytime. Ang problema nga sa trabaho ngayon dahil lahat halos naka-work from home and nag-aaral from home, minsan yung oras ng trabaho nag-e-exceed na, hindi na natin napapansin, lumalampas na ng 8 hours. O ano, nangyayari sa akin yan, ang normal na out ko sa consulting work ko ngayon is alas 11 ng gabi, alas 8 ako ng umaga gigising. Okay, ngayon ang akin lang naman, I would like to recommend siguro sa UAPSA na in order to expedite the process is to use or utilize this online platform. Okay? Tingin ko mas mapapabilis to eh. Ipatawag mo na lahat sa isang meeting, in consensus, discuss what you are trying to post and get the answer from your UAP chair, yung mga kasama mo sa board, and other members of the committee. Okay? Kasi ngayon wala nang dahilan na na-traffic ako, hindi ako makakapunta malayo, nasa probinsya ako. Ngayon, kailangan mo na lang ng internet to get the consensus of everyone. Okay? And as you can see, nagagawa na natin siya ngayon. Galing tayo sa iba't ibang lugar. Okay? Pangalawa, isa sa mga isasuggest ko rin, no, since nababanggit yung pag-express ng opinion ng mga estudyante, no, i-add ko lang to. Kasi I agree na hindi dapat natin tinatanggalan ng boses ang mga estudyante sa pag-express ng opinion. Pero like journalism and pagre-research, especially during thesis, no? Kasi advisor din ako, I always ask my students, ito yung sinabi or ito yung sinasabi mong gusto ng mga nakausap mo. Ang tanong, okay? Pagdating kasi sa pag-generate or pagdating sa investigative journalism, we are only not following objective type of research. We follow quantitative type of approach. For example, mag-generate kayo ng opinion na magre-represent sa buong student body. Ilan ba ang nakuhanan nyo ng opinion? Kasi it has corresponding numbers when you gather survey. For example, mamaya out of, kunyari nung time namin, no, nasa 66,000 or 6,600 rather, yung members namin nung nung NBD kami. I'm sure mas marami na sa inyo ngayon di hamak, di ba? Ilan yung nakausap nyo doon? Diba? So we have to get a certain number kasi ang standard natin for getting opinions or survey is actually 10 to 20% of the total population you are targeting. Mamaya 5 lang yung nakausap mo, tapos yung isa dyan or yung 2 pang nakausap mo dyan is hindi pala estudyante ngayon, di ba? Tapos sarili niyang opinion yung kinuha niya, di ba? Okay? That will render the opinion that will represent the whole student body as a whole invalid. Tapos kung ipapublish nyo kasi yun, imagine, i-represent ng isang statement, okay, yung buong student body, tapos under pa kayo ng UAP, ang daming ma-jeopardize. Isang maling salita nyo lang kasi, ang pwedeng madamay dyan is hindi lang yung student body, but even the professionals. Kaya nagiging maingat sila. Kaya you have to understand at some point, okay, na we are trying to protect each and everyone, okay, by establishing a correct protocol or process. Ngayon, kung bumabagal at hindi siya ma-publish, ang kailangan natin gawan ng paraan is not really I disagree with censorship, pero I agree with selective words, okay? Kasi there are things that you can say nicely, pero you are trying to deliver the same message. Kasi ang gusto natin as much as possible, we try to convey the message in a manner na walang ma-offend, okay? Bakit? Kasi when you offend someone, they will vest or they will respond accordingly to their emotions. They will not be logical. Diba? And if they respond based on their emotion, we are not being logical and technical anymore. Ang nangyayari, imbis na opinion ang binibigay natin or imbis na inputs to improve, ang nangyayari, nagbabash na lang tayo. Diba? And according to the Code of Ethics, okay, when we deliver something. I agree with what everyone told kanina na dapat mag-express tayo ng opinion, di ba? Na dapat ang editorial nagbibigay din sila ng opinion because they do fact-checking and they need to produce salient results sa kanilang mga sinusulat. Okay? Dapat tama. Okay? At dapat magbigay din ng hindi lang tayo taga-minutes pag kumukuha tayo ng opinion. We have to process this opinion. That's one of the objectives of journalism. Okay? So, ipaprocess nyo ngayon. Pipiliin nyo kung ano na sa tingin nyo yung tama or mali. And the students cannot do it alone. That's why you need to seek professional help. That's why you consult the architects. Okay? Tapos, ang gagawin nyo ngayon dyan, okay, halimbawa, meron ng consensus, ipo-proofread nyo pa yan. Okay? That's the correct word. You proofread the output. Okay? Kasi we don't want to offend everyone, but we want to convey our message to everyone. Kasi as a student activist also, okay, ang objective kasi ng activism is not to express your emotion. Okay? Hindi ka magagalit na, ibagsak ang ganito, 𝗕𝗏𝗏𝗀𝗏, di ba? Hindi. Ang objective ng activism is to educate. Okay? Kaya kung mapapansin nyo, even in politics, may mapapansin kayo na merong against, merong pro, tapos sasabihin nyo nagbubulag-bulagan ito. So anong gagawin natin? Hahayaan ba natin or papanatilihin natin silang bulag? The objective of activism is actually educating someone. And how can we educate someone if on the first place, we are offending them already? They will be receptive. Hindi nila tatanggapin yan. Parang sa pagtuturo lang yan eh. Pag halimbawa, nilait ko yung trabaho mo bago ko sabihin na ganito ang dapat mong gawin, anong mangyayari sa'yo? Hindi mo tatanggapin yung opinion ko bilang teacher because na-offend na kita eh, di ba? Hindi mo na siya ipaprocess, okay? Your objective is to educate, not just to express, okay? So yun yung palagi yung tatandaan. That's why we have to proofread, not censorship. We have to proofread, okay? And please, tawag dito, you have to really consult the professionals kasi ito yan ha, palagi ko rin sinasabi sa mga students ko. The worst thing that the student can experience pag nagkaroon sila ng pagkakamali sa school is bumagsak sa isang subject or probably matanggal sa program ng architecture. That's the worst thing that can happen, okay? You can start again, okay? Ang problema sa aming mga architects who are already established in the profession, pag nagkaroon ng slightest mistake at tumagilid kami, wala kaming ibang pupuntahan, okay? You have to understand that, okay? Kasi yan, you will guys experience that pag meron na kayong license. Ang binabayaran sa arkitekto is not only the idea, okay? Remember, according to the civil code, we have 15 years of liability. Isa yan sa mga binabayaran sa pagiging professional. Kaya pinoprotektahan natin yung pangalan ng isa't isa because mahirap na bawiin pag yung pangalan mo at yung dignidad mo yung nasira. That's why, yes, I agree with freedom of expression, but freedom entails or is always entailed by responsibility because with great power comes with greater responsibility. Natandaan nyo yan. Okay? And I agree, okay, doon sa sinabi kanina na it's the teacher's job, okay, to cure ignorance. So if that's the premise of the discussion, then you should make sure that yung mga nasa foreground, which is yung architects, who are acting as your mentors, kasi yan ang aming sinumpaang tungkulin sa Code of Ethics, you have to give us also our part. Okay? You have to let us do our part also. Okay? Yun yung gusto ko lang i-impart. Okay? So,
ayan. Maraming salamat po, Architect Geron. Ayan po, bago po tayo magpatuloy para kay 𝐻𝗂𝗋𝗀, Architect Campolino, meron po ba tayong nais ipunto para po sa argumento or usapin ng publications? Sir Campolino.
Sorry, nakamute pala. As I was saying kanina, yun nga, being a student is a 5-year stint, ideally. And in every year, you only have 12 months. And in every fiscal year, you only have at least 10 months because 1 month, nagiging auxiliary kayo ng UAP, and another month is nagta-transition kayo from one term to the other term. Am I correct or not? Diba ganon? So it would be exhausting for you guys if you yun nga, kung nga may mga reforms kayo na gagawin. Pero kasi every year, templated na yan for my 4 years of service, templated na yan. And I'm so proud na kayo, nag-e-expand kayo. So in terms naman sa publication, what if you meet halfway with UAP and your school and whatever authority or guidance sa inyo. Kasi sabi dito, to prepare the students for a more responsible and productive role in the society and to provide them with the necessary off-campus training relevant to architecture industry. So if you are advocating on something, why not advocating it something na enriching for your experience as an architecture student? So you choose your battles wisely. That's what I'm trying to say. You choose your battles wisely and you choose the battles that are worth fighting for. Diba? As an architecture student. Kasi yung publications naman yan, dati ginawa na namin yan, pero ang idea namin ng publications noon is a research publication. Hindi about, I don't know, news or something or opinion or something like that na ano. Although fine, sige, kung kaya niyo mag-fact check or something, pero is it enriching in your experience as an architecture student? Would it matter from the day that you will leave the organization? Unlike having a research, matutulungan mo pa yung next generation of UAPSA na, di ba, na may reference shaft coming from you. In which na doon, mag-meet halfway din kayo with the 𝗂𝘅𝗧 kasi yan ang gusto nila. Most likely yan ang gusto nila. With 𝘁, with 𝗕, with 𝗕, with the Commission on Education, 'di ba? Kasi ayun, kasi it's very academic yung approach, very scientific, and of course as estudyante, for sure validated ang data nyo. 'Di ba? Ganun, yun lang din naman yung point ko doon. Kung gusto nyo talaga ng may sort of expression. And then siguro, kung meron kayong publication na gusto nyong you can naman. Kasi kung guided naman yung mga yan, guided naman ng UAP yung mga yan, I mean, di ba? It's just that ang point ko lang is maglagay kayo ng laman na mas enriching at mas viable and mas magli-leave ng legacy on the day that you have earned your degree. Yun lang naman yung sa akin. Yeah, I think yun lang naman. Okay.
Maraming salamat, Ginoong Tampolino. Ginoong Bien, meron po ba tayong nais sabihin?
I just want to agree with the points that Architect Hiron pointed out earlier. And also, just short lang din. Katulad ng sinabi dito ni Architect Jan, I do agree with those na maganda rin na kung kunwari si UAP, sinabi niya sa isang article or isang published article niya na this is no or something like that. Kayo na rin or tayo na rin yung mag-initiate kay UAP na ano po bang maaari nating i-develop dito sa disapproved na article na ito. Para at the same time, ayun nga, katulad ng sinabi ni Architect Jan dito sa comments, na parehas nag-grow yung UAP and UAPSA. Kasi not everyone in UAP and UAPSA is an experienced journalist. And also, hindi naman, if not impossible, tanggalin yung character and connection ni UAP sa UAPSA. At the end of the day kasi, part pa rin tayo ng isang organization, kahit auxiliary tayo. Diba? So, katulad nga nun, yung mga binabanggit na code of ethics, etc., we also have to observe that and mag-reflect din yun sa atin as part of your action.
Ayan, maraming salamat po, Ginoong Bien. Ngayon naman po, tutungo tayo sa ano pong diskusyon natin mula sa Liga ng mga Estudyante, Ginoong Ray Piluden at Zion. Nakita po natin ang mga footnotes ni Architect Janice para sa pagsasalatag ng ating resolusyon. Meron po ba tayong nais ipunto para sa kanyang mga suggestion?
You wanna go first, Dan?
Sige po. I agree with Architect Janice regarding doon po sa pagkakaroon ng waiver. And siguro po mas maganda po if ever before, ayun nga po, mas maganda if may standard or may parang form na titignan yung or agreement yung UAPSA and UAP when it comes to the events na hinaheld po natin online or face-to-face. Kasi nga po, ayun nga po, katulad po nung sinasabi ko kanina na minsan po kasi hindi rin po napapahalagahan yung efforts ng students. And sometimes po, mas maganda po magkaroon na lang ng limitations kung saan makikita po kung hanggang saan lang talaga yung bibigay namin. Kasi what we experienced before, lalo na po ng face-to-face events, minsan po yung mga pinapagawa po talaga sa amin, it's medyo ano na po sa responsibility din namin bilang students. Ayun po.
Nais ko lang din pong linawin ito dahil mukhang meron pong nasa sa loob ng 5 o 100 oras para sa mga estudyante. Kung ito po ay isa sa halimbawa natin ng Architect Janice sa mga events po na kung saan sumasaklaw o naiimbita ang mga UAPSA o mga liga ng estudyante. Sir Jeboy, Sir Tampolino, maaari po ba natin itong i-credit o ipasok bilang kasi ang pagkakaintindi ko po dito ay maaari bang maklasifika bilang mentorship experience counted po ba kung ito ay papasok sa Memorandum of Agreement ng mga lokal man na chapter or national na mga estudyante bilang katuwang ng UAP events?
Pwedeng explain ko lang. Yes, baka kasi nagtataka sila Architect Giron na saan hahanapin. So, meron po akong suggestion kasi we are trying to start this sa UAPSA chapter, sa UE. What I noticed kasi, the mother chapter borrows the UAPSA chapter for event. Eh, syempre, there are a lot of things going on sa student life din. What I noticed is some of the webinars and some of the activities na can fall under mentorship ni architect. It's just that it should be limiting in hours. Like what we did before, we held the CPD seminar and we asked the UAPSA to help. Tapos what I asked them is if natututo sila, kung ano na-gets nila, kung ano na-absorb nila. Sabi, ito pinatutunan namin, in-assess din namin. So baka pwede kayang somehow, a part of it would be a part of your learning experience. Pero syempre hindi mo pwedeng sobrang laking hours, no? Kasi iba pa rin yung skills develop after graduating. Pero at least, yung hours na dinidevoting nyo, it's somehow, hindi compensated eh. It has a value. Okay, and you will also having this black and white document wherein you are stating na we would be giving individually, ito yung work hours na ibibigay namin sa inyo. So we are parang apprentice program ang lalabas sa kanya. Okay, I remember I attended a certain webinar before that UAP before has this kind of program. Apprentice program. Hindi ko lang maalala kung ano yung tawag. But that's why they hindi collaborated with UAPSA. So certain architects, they have their juniors na part ng UAPSA na members ng baby chapter nila. So ganun, pero may limiting hours. So pwedeng in OJT form, pwedeng in a activity, in a webinar form or seminar form. It's up to you kung ano yung limiting nyo in terms of hours, tapos kung anong klaseng task. Tapos, i-address nyo siya either kung sa UAP kayo magsasubmit ng activity ninyo or sa mother chapter ninyo or sa UAP chapter na magsaserve kayo. Parang ganun. I think in other organizations, they do this sa mga the PDA, the Philippine Dental Association, they have this certain parang pag mag-i-intern yung junior, so meron silang forms and everything. It's also a safety net for you guys na overwork na po kami. Okay? And it's also a reminder for the mentors, for the architects na I have to do my job as an architect to mentor students. Ang nangyayari kasi, bilang yung architects that serves as mentors. Okay, and it's sad kasi the learning is not shared. So, parang nangyayari, bakit ako magkukuha ng ganito? Bakit ko pa inimenti yan? So, let's do this two-way. Let's give and take. So, that's one of the suggestions. Yun po. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po, Architect 𝗕𝗵𝗀. Meron po bang gustong maghain ng kanilang komento?
Well, at least my final thoughts, I guess, on this. I think there just needs to be a lot more discussion between UAP and UAPSA mismo. And yun nga, I think we've seen that with yung UAPSA chair, that he's always, yung previous UAPSA chairs have always been there for us. But I think we need to have a lot more discussions with UAP mismo in regards to how we actually conduct everything. So they can get our inputs and they can get our inputs as well. Oh, sorry. We can give them our inputs and then we can listen to what they think can happen as well. So we can at least find a compromise in everything here. So I really do think with everything that's been going on, I guess the best thing that we can do is just a lot more involvement between each other's affairs, basically. Not in a bad way naman. We just have to have a conversation. We need to have a discussion between, if ever, things such as publication, whether that be events, whether it be what we're planning to do in the future. We need to have more of that conversation, not in there, because if ever we just keep shelving that, there would be no progress between UAP and UAPSA. It's like as you said, Architect Janice, na our goal is basically to grow UAPSA alongside UAP because we are basically one organization. So yes, that's what I really do think that we need to do. Just a lot more conversations.
Ayan, maraming salamat po. Pinumpilo din. Siguro po, isa pang punto na gusto nating linawin para sa resolution, no? Kasi meron po ako dito, nag-notes ako kanina na yung gravity na nabanggit ni Sir Giron na na-discuss kanina, tsaka yung experience din na na-share ni Ginobien, ano po kaya ang pwede nating maipasama o ma-include sa saklaw ng resolution na to na kung saan maging malinaw o maging klaro ang abot na makakaya ng UAP una pa lamang bago sa decision making ng ating liga ng mga estudyante. Kasi minsan po, siguro common naman po natin yung naaasahan na sa nagiging roadblock yung updates, tapos minsan nagko-cause of delay hanggang sa may mangyayari ng hindi inaasahan. Ano po kaya ang tulad ng naibanggit ni Architect Janice na safety net on rule of engagement natin ng UAPSA sa mga events ng UAP? Paano naman po kaya sa polisiya ng bylaws or kung dito po kunwari sa UAPSA?
Pwede mag-impart on that?
Okay po, sige.
Okay, siguro unang-una para mas maging efficient yung proseso, no? Kasi for the longest time, the student auxiliary and the graduate auxiliary, ganito sila nag-ooperate. It works in a linear pattern. Ibig sabihin, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5, ang daming nauubos na oras. Why don't we work in a circular manner? Ibig sabihin ng circular manner, plenary agad. When we say plenary, yan nga yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na, halimbawa lang to for the publication, sino bang mga kailangan yung kasama doon para makakuha tayo agad ng approval? Kasi sa government, ganyan yung nangyayari. Nagkakaroon tayo ng tinatawag na session or plenary. Diba? For example, sa City Hall, nagkakaroon ng sanggunian, di ba? Nagtatawag sila, meron tayong majority floor leader, nandiyan dyan yung vice mayor, tapos nandito yung mga inputs ng mga konsehal, di ba? Tapos nagkakaroon sila ng resolution through an ordinance. Why don't we work in that way na imbis na linear na tayo muna, then susunod to, tapos mag-aantay tayo, tapos susunod to, mag-aantay na naman tayo, tapos nagka-problema yung inaantay natin, mag-aantay ulit tayo, mga tipong ganon. We have to work in a circular manner. Then on that plenary, mag-decide na tayo agad. Is it a go or not? Or is it going to be a working progress pa? Anong dapat i-improve? Okay? For example naman sa issue doon sa, I think nabanggit yung sa diversified experience ba kanina, tama? Sa mga nire-render na efforts ng student auxiliary. That's actually a good idea. Actually, since students pa lang din kami, we are trying to propose this kasi we know the feeling of being exhausted, okay, of being a student army at the same time assistant din or junior assistants din ng UAP sa kanilang mga events, okay? And kung titignan natin, this is actually a professional aspect already na nag-uumpisa kayo at an early age. At magandang idea yan. Ang pero maganda yan on my part. Pero devil's advocate tayo. We have a logbook prior to taking the board exam. And on the logbook, we have A, B, C, D, E, F categories. Drafting, document making or mga paggawa ng hindi ko nakabisado paggawa ng contract documents, site supervision, meron diyan about special allied services, project superintendents, and engineering or architectural layouting, yung mga tipong ganyan. Okay, ang problema natin ngayon dyan is saan natin siya ipapasok doon. Number 1. Pangalawa, yung pagkaka-craft kasi ng logbook is not only by the jurisdiction of the UAP. It is actually approved also by PRBARC. Okay? So we have to involve the Professional Regulatory Board of Architecture and those who are involved in the academe. Kasi pag magbo-board exam ka, magpapasa ka ng transcript. Tingnan yung academic records mo because nakalagay yan sa RA 9266 ng requirement para maging professional ka is dapat maging academically ka equipped. Okay? So, papasok ngayon dyan si Ched. So, again, kung gusto natin makakuha ng decision dyan, it should be a round table discussion. Kasi kung magiging linear yan, mag-aantay tayo na mag-aantay. Parang sa school lang din yan eh. Na-experience ko nung chapter officer ako. Papasa namin siya sa office for approval. Tapos nasa ilalim lang yung paper. Tapos nag-aantay kami, pumuti na yung uwak. Wala pa rin, di ba? O, hindi na natuloy yung event. So, na-frustrate kami. Gusto namin sabunutan yung mga liable on that. So, again, pwede natin siguro gawin instead na linear, circular yung discussion. Plenary agad, go ba to? Hindi. Yung tipong ganon. Okay? Saka suggestion lang din. Kasi na-experience ko to nung chair ako. Pag may ganyan, yung student auxiliary, no, huwag kayong mahiyang ipatawag yung chair nyo. Okay? Or pag may meeting yung Commission on Education, may representative kayo palagi. Meron yan. Okay? Tapos, kasi sila yung pag may meeting yan sa ComEd, ganito yan. Andyan si graduate auxiliary, industry, linkages, di ba? Tapos si student auxiliary, nandiyan dyan. Buong ComEd, nandiyan dyan. Uupo yan sa isang meeting. Dati, puro yung architects lang nag-uusap. Ang nakakatuwa nga during 2017, meron na kaming mga pinapadala galing sa mismong student arm na representative. Usually, yan yung NP, okay, sa SecGen. Okay? So, make sure na involved lang kayo pag may meeting yung Commission on Education para makakuha agad kayo ng resolution. Yun lang isasuggest ko palagi sa inyo. Magpa-involve na kayo kasi busy tayo lahat pare-pareho. So, ang gawin nyo, sugod na kayo doon. Diba? Kunin nyo na agad yung sagot sa kanila. Hindi tayo mag-aantay. Okay? Ayaw natin magkaroon ng red tagging pagdating sa protocol. So, wag tayo mag-linear. Dapat circular. Yun yung suggestion ko.
Maraming salamat po, Architect Giron. Meron po bang gustong magdagdag sa komentong iyon? Mawala po si Architect Giron.
Ako po.
Okay, sige po, Ginoong Jacob.
Sinabi rin po sa amin sa managing committee, hindi po kami nagkaroon ng representation tuwing nagkakaroon din po ng ComEd meeting or hindi po kami pinapatawag. So sa tingin niyo po, paano po namin mas i-insist yun or paano mangyayari yun?
Again, ano yung tanong? Ano yung tanong mo?
Kasi po sir, never po nagkaroon ng representation sa Commission on Education meeting ang UAPSA. So paano po namin masosolusyonan yon? Do we insist po ba or
You insist na i-meet yung yung chair nyo. That's one protocol that's the easiest protocol na pwede nyong gawin. Yun yung pinaka-easiest. And then in terms of outputs naman, yung pinag-uusapan kanina, why not learn from startups na agile sila? You just have to instill sa work culture nyo You have to be an agile kind of organization. Because if you are agile, it means mataas ang productivity niyo. So, basta output lang, then you polish, ganyan. And then kapag may mga outputs kayo, you polish it with your board, you polish it with your chair, you polish it with the what do you call this, with the commission and education. And then that's it. I-present nyo, i-present nila. But you just have to have an open dialogue as always. Alam ni Architect Janice yan kasi siya, advisor siya ng you just have to have an open dialogue. Ang mga arkitekto naman, makikinig yan sa inyo. Siyempre alam naman namin nakapila naman tayo lahat next in line eh. And with regards to the issues in the profession, I have to be honest na hindi lahat ng arkitekto naiintindihan namin yung issues. Sometimes hindi lahat kami gustong maki-alam din. Yun lang naman yung akin. Kaya kung anong saklaw lang ng powers nyo, ng mandate nyo, and then the platform na meron kayo, again, programang kailangan nyo, hindi plataforma. Ay, hindi reforma. Plataforma kayo, programang kailangan nyo, hindi reforma. Ayun lang.
Thank you po, sir.
Ayan. Meron pa po bang naisidagdag para po atin ng masimulan ang formal na sasapinal ng ating resolusyon para sa ating mga rapporteur na nakaantabay. Ang 3 punto na nasa akin ay una, ukol sa pagsasalathala na napag-usapan ng ating mga paunahuhin mula kay Ginoong Harmonilla at mga suwestyon at komento ni Architect 𝗂𝘂𝙧 at si Ginoong Giron. Pangalawa naman po ay ang para sa correspondence or open discussion na kung saan nasaklaw po natin ang mas magandang pag-atake bilang plenary session instead na linear ang ating pagkilos sa mga programa. At pangatlo naman po ay ang pagsasapormal ng rules of engagement or standardized form ng waivers in light ng mga involvement at engagement ng UAPSA sa UAP. Lahat po ba tayo doon ay on board at meron po ba bang nais?
Yeah, unless regarding sa just a quick question, meron bang requirements or like criteria for choosing si UAP po ng UAPSA chair for UAPSA? Hindi ko kasi alam if po. Pero ano po yung mga parts ng criteria?
Yung criteria for selecting UAPSA chair ba? Tama?
Yes, sir.
Actually, walang nakalagay directly on the... I'm not really sure pero alam ko wala directly nakalagay kung ano yung hinahanap na criteria for being UAPSA chair kasi ang ginawa sa amin noon by appointment ang nangyari by the Office of the Vice President, then endorsed by ComEd, etc. Ganyan. Endorsed by VP, tapos accepted by ComEd, okay? Pero wala pa Pero usually, those who are called to the responsibility of being a chairperson is involved dapat sa academe as much as possible nagtuturo. Okay? Kasi,
go ahead, sir.
Yun isa sa nakita ko, dapat involved sa academe. Pero it's not really written directly anywhere. Okay? So baka magandang points of discussion din in selecting the chairman. Okay? Maganda siguro i-create natin yan. Okay? Na meron tayong parameters for selecting a chairman kasi syempre medyo mahirap nga naman kung ang magre-represent sa student auxiliary ay walang experience, okay, sa academe. Okay? Kasi how can we validate kung tama or mali yung nalalaman or na-experience ng estudyante kung hindi naman pala siya naging part ng school. Okay? So yun yung suggestion ko. Pwedeng wala siyang parameter pero baka si UAPSA merong suggestion. I think that's a good avenue to start. Then
another suggestion, sir. Yes, continue, sir.
Yun ang suggestion ko is you create a parameter. Okay? Na number 1, siyempre student auxiliary, dapat nasa academe. Okay? Saka pangalawa, dapat siyempre in terms of track record, wala tayong issues on ethics. Kasi siyempre bilang chair, you should set a standard or an example. Diba? Okay? Number 3 is also experience. Okay? Siyempre hindi ko naman ina-undermine na pagbago kang teacher, wala kang experience, no? Kasi again, uulitin ko yung sinabi ko kanina, magkaiba ang knowledge and wisdom. Okay? Knowledge is, parang ganito lang yan. Knowledge, alam mong mainit yung apoy sa kandila. Pero wisdom, gaano kainit, di ba? And you need wisdom from those who have experience. Okay? So, probably those 3. Pero pwede nyo pang dagdagan, pwede nyo i-consult. I am saying this in behalf of me as dating chairman, okay? Na baka meron kayong gustong idagdag. Okay? So, pwede nyo i-suggest. Pero on my point of view, I think at least siguro yun. At least siguro yun.
May I add?
Go ahead.
With Architect Jeron's comment, I think it's a good start if it would be coming from you na at least nandun na yung gusto niyo magkaroon ng voice. Kaya na mag-voice. Baka pwedeng sa amin po manggaling yung magiging chair para alam niyo yung comfortability niyo sa chair, sa magiging chair or sa magiging advisor niyo. At the same time, it would be easier for you to communicate kasi I see students na they're having hard time to communicate with advisors na sa tingin nila hirap nilang kausapin. And I think it's a good way also with the chair. And maybe you could also come up with parameters na the involvement itself na willing i-devote si chair for you guys and to come up with programs that would unite UAP and UAPSA. So maybe that's a good start. And also, it could be a big change not only for you guys, but also for UAPSA na UAP that you're tapping them na. Sir, ito yung start of changes that we wanted to pursue. So, i-add nyo na lang pa kung ano pa yung pwede nyo i-flourish doon sa idea ni Architect.
Yun na, dagdag ko lang din Do not dictate UAP who to choose as chairperson Ang akin, you create a parameter or rubrics kung sino or ano dapat ang qualifications ng isang advisor. Okay? Na pwede nilang piliin for you. Yes. So yun.
Gagawa kay 10, ganun.
Tapos pwede nyo i-recommend yan sa Commission on Education. Okay? Tapos pag-usapan nyo, di ba? Para next terms, di ba? Naging procedural tayo and at the same time democratic yung process natin ng pagpili. Okay? Ng magiging chairperson nyo.
Ayan, maraming salamat.
Kayo ng chairperson nyo.
So,
pero at saka naman, yung susunod yung chairperson, kilala ko naman, pasok naman siya sa mga naiisip nila architect.
Yes, kilala namin. Siya, nag-academe siya and maganda dyan na student auxiliary din siya dati. Kasi baka gawin nyo naman, baka gawin yung parameter, dapat nag-UAPSA dati. Mali yun. Okay, kasi kailan na-establish ang UAPSA? May mga ganon. Okay, yun. Kaya,
1999.
consult your chair ngayon. Okay yan. Si Abby.
Ayan po, sa pang-apat na punto ng ating diskusyon para sa ating mga raportur sa resolusyon ay ang pagsasagawa o pagsasapormal ng isang malinis at maayos na polisiya o parameters as Architect Jeron said para sa kwalifikasyon at mga kategorya ng pag-a-appoint o pagsasanomina ng susunod na tagapangasiwa ng UAPSA. Ayan. Sa tingin ko po, yun na po ang 4 na ating puntong ating isa sa pinal. Meron pa po ba sa liga ng ating mga nagsalita o Ginoong Pilo din, Architect Janice? Meron pa po ba tayong baka sakaling na-miss o na hindi na pag-usapan?
Meron pa ba?
Sa liga po ng mga... Okay po?
Pasalamat na lang ako. Magpapasalamat ako sa UAPSA sa pag-imbita dito sa inyong Balangkasan. magandang avenue talaga ang Balangkasan para malaman yung opinyon ng bawat sektor na meron ng UAP. Kasi lalo ngayon yung current situation natin, online tayo. Siguro mas naging immersive ito kung ito ay isang aktual na balangkasan. Baka mas narinig din natin yung opinion na meron yung mga nanonood. So, yun ang akin. Maraming salamat sa inyo at maraming salamat din sa mga, ano tawag dito? Viewers.
Viewers. Mga manonood.
Thank you mga viewers ko. Maraming salamat. So, una sa lahat, salamat sa UAPSA, 𝙤𝙤-𝙤𝙤, saka sa mga committee, sa inyo, sa pag-organize nito, sa mga reactors, kila Architect Giron, Architect Adrian, tama po ba? Okay. Ayan. Tapos, shout-out ko daw yung isang estudyante ko. Shout-out kay Vincent Ramos. Thank you.
Maraming salamat din po sa pagpa-unlock sa aming imbitasyon, Architect 𝗁𝙗𝗵𝗴𝗏. Ginoong Pilo din, inyong mga huling mensahe.
Thank you. All right, I'd like to say thank you for our guests for today. It's Architect 𝗤𝙗𝙖𝙤, Architect Adrian Tampolino, Architect 𝗤𝗵𝗴𝗏. You've provided us with very good points that we can actually work on in terms of how we're going to be working together alongside the UAP. Yes, it's like at least what we just wanted with this Balangkasan is a way for us to discuss topics, a proper avenue for us to discuss topics so that we may be able to work together. And I think we were able to do that naman. So thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it, because if ever we didn't have this, most likely the case, we'll just keep going on. And I don't think that's a good thing for us. But anyways, we look forward to hearing more from US, more from the UAP na rin. Hopefully we can have more of these discussions so that we may actually fix more issues, bigger issues that are not just within UAPSA, not just within the UAP, but also within the country na rin. That's our end goal naman na rin talaga as architects, because eventually we need to be able to handle that. Anyways, we look forward to working alongside everyone. Thank you very much.
Ayan po, mula naman sa lupo ng ating mga reaktor, Architect Tampolino, huling mensahe.
Last is that always remember na you just have to think how can the organization be sustainable. Always remember that, because at the end of the day, time will come na kayo naman yung nakaupo sa kinaupuan namin at may mga bata kayong pinakikinggan. So always remember that you should establish a good always remember to be a good role model sa mas nakababata. Kasi kami medyo pawala na sa sa bingo, kalendaryo, ganyan. And then always remember also, I'm so proud of you na nag-expand na mga programs nyo. Maybe there are other programs na pwede nyo pang gawin. And doon naman tayo kilala as an organization, ang creativity and professionalism. And then always remember, in everything that you do your grind ordinarily well, and of course, do it with grit and grace always and in always. Thank you very much. Shout out nga pala kay Jason at kay Brent.
Maraming salamat po, Architect Tampolino, sa liwanag na mensahe at napaka-inspirational. Ngayon naman po, huling mga mensahe at salitain, Architect Giron.
Okay, tatlong bagay lang siguro, no. Number one, since nasa UAPSA kayo, you are student leaders. Okay, palagi ko sinasabi ito sa mga estudyante ko. You are a student first bago maging leader. So, wag niyong kalimutan yung responsibility niyo as a student. Okay? Number two, always do everything, okay, aligned sa kagustuhan, at para sa, hindi lang kagustuhan pala, that's an incorrect word, para sa ikabubuti ng colleagues nyo, which are the students. Okay? Let us avoid yung tinatawag nating conflict of interest as much as possible, kasi yan ang layunin nyo mag-serve. And ang architecture is not just a profession, it's actually a form of service. Okay? Pangatlo, I agree with students having voice and freedom. Okay, pero let's work in symbiosis, okay, and mutualism kung tawagin nga, na syempre, okay, maganda na meron kayong initiative, okay, and lakas ng loob and freedom to assert, okay, your voices, okay, pero let us work together, okay. That's why maganda i-involve nyo rin kami palagi sa decision making kasi baka makatulong kami, okay, sa tinatahak ninyong landas, di ba, bilang mga student leaders, or baka napagdaanan na namin yan. Para, ganito kasi yan, palagi ko sinasabi sa mga estudyante ko, tingin nyo mga architects na nakakasalamuhan nyo perfect? No, we are also imbued with a lot of imperfections and mistakes. And kaya kami palaging nagre-reach out sa inyo because ayaw namin maulit nyo yung mistakes na yon. Okay, it's not always about rainbows and butterflies. Marami rin kami pinagdaan ng mali. And it's actually a form of showing concern sa mga estudyante para hindi nyo maulit yung mga maling ginawa namin. Kasi tandaan nyo, ang objective namin bilang architects is maging mas magaling kayo sa amin. Okay? And paano kayo magiging mas magaling sa amin? As early as now, sinasabi na namin kung ano yung mga nagawa naming mali noon para hindi nyo na siya maulit, para mas magaling kayo sa amin in the future. So yun lang. So hats off sa inyo sa UAPSA, and I'm so glad meron na tayong ganitong platform kasi dati sa UAPSA kadalasan event lang, seminar, then kaunting party. Okay? So yun. Ngayon meron na tayong ganitong avenue which is perfectly a good, okay, avenue kung saan meron na tayong mga resolutions. Okay? So yun lang. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat po, Architect Giron. Mula naman sa lupo ng mga graduate auxiliary, 𝙤𝙗𝙖𝙤, huling mensahe.
Ayan. Gusto ko lang din mag-thank you sa UAPSA for giving us an opportunity to contribute, lalo na sa mga issues, and yun specifically yung issue na to. Kasi ever since UAPSA pa ako, way back 2015, 2016, ito na yung na-encounter natin. And hanggang ngayon, parang kakaunti pa rin yung mga hakbang na napapahak natin. And at least itong resolution na magagawa natin, it would have a big impact or an important impact sa mga future na mangyayari, I don't know, developments or policy changes kung magkakaroon man sa UAP and sa UAPSA. And yun lang din, always reach out lagi sa especially sa Commission on Education, lalo na sa mga concerns na ganito, para lagi nyo silang hamigin, isama nyo lagi sila, para hindi kayo magkakalayo lagi ng opinions and ng stance sa mga bagay-bagay. Ayun lang. Salamat.
Maraming salamat po, 𝙤𝙗𝙖𝙤. At ngayon naman mula sa La Consolacion College in Bacolod, 𝙤𝙗𝙗𝙗.
So, again, maraming salamat sa UAPSA. Dati nag-host lang ako dito sa natin, no, sa mga seminars natin. So, ngayon nagiging guest na ako. So, thank you very much for that opportunity. And one thing lang na I'd like to add sa publication is the functions of journalism is to inform, to educate, to guide, and to entertain. So, lagi po nating tatandaan na for better change rin po yung layunin ng publication. So it would be best na we work hand in hand para makapagdala po tayo ng progression sa ating organisasyon, sa UAPSA at para sa UAP. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat.
Maraming salamat, 𝙤𝙗𝙗𝙗. At ngayon naman, ang ating pambansang taga-suri, 𝙤𝙗𝙗𝙗, para sa inyong huling mensahe.
First of all, gusto ko po talaga magpasalamat sa mga opinion nyo at mga suggestion nyo. Itong balangkasan po na ito ay magiging ehemplo po para sa mga susunod na mga programa ng UAPSA para mas maging progresibo po ang organisasyon natin, pati na rin po ang UAP. We are looking forward for more discussions like this one po. Alam po namin dahil dito, mas mapaghuhusay po natin ang ating mga organisasyon. Muli, maraming salamat po sa lahat ng reactors at lahat ng speakers at lahat ng viewers ngayon.
Ayan, bilang nagbigay na po ng kanya-kanyang huling mensahe ang ating mga panauhin, muli po nating muli kong ipapasa sa ating tagapamahala ng programa, binibining grasya para sa pagkilala sa ating mga panauhin.
Lang tungkol sa events o kasiyahan, di ba? Talagang nakapokus tayo sa ikaunlad ng bawat isa, lalo na po kami mga estudyante na tatahakin tong landas na to hanggang maging isa na kaming professional na arkitekto. Maraming salamat po sa ating mga dumalo, especially po na pinakita din na ating mga student leader na hindi lang ang student leader ay dyan para tumulong, para mag-organisa, kundi para talaga gumawa ng mga polisiyang makakatulong sa pagiging progresibo ng UAPSA. So maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat. Ngayon po, bago tayo magpatuloy sa ating programa ay ating pararangalang ang ating mga pangunahing tagapagsalita sa araw na ito. Ang mga sertipikong ito ay ginagawad bilang pasasalamat sa pagbabahagi ng kanilang karunungan at kaalaman sa Balangkasan 2021 ukol sa paksang Student Auxiliary versus Junior Arm ngayong ika-4 ng Hulyo taong 2021. Ang mga sertipikong ito ay hinahandog kay Ray Michael Benjamin Piluden, Architect Janice Maria Irene Echeverry Quintano, John Benedict Bien, John Pierre Harmanilla, Zion Enrico Licup, Architect and Environmental Planner Jean Lambert Giron, at Architect Adrian Tampolino. Ito ay nilagdaan nila Angel Compañero, Chair Balangkasan, Ray Michael Benjamin Piluden, Balangkasan Event Head, Harold Byrne Mariano, National Congress Director, Mike Anthony Ralyamas, Executive Director for External Affairs, Anthony Danrick Dayon, Executive Director for Congress and Assemblies, Jewel May Salvan, National Executive Vice President, Alfrederick Cruz, UAPSA Secretary General, Maxine Andrea Lumbera, UAPSA National President, at Architect Rosana Baradi, UAPSA Chairman. Muli, maraming salamat po sa inyong karunungan at kaalaman. At bago tayo magpatuloy, inaanyayahan ng lahat para sa maikling pagtataguyod ng malikhaing pagsulat mula sa ating mga sponsor or membership and media partner Lantangan Magazine, ang kanilang punong patnugot, si Brother Bella Lani SVD mula sa School of Architecture and Fine Arts and Design ng Universidad ng San Carlos Talamban Campus.
So good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes po.
Yes. So with me together will be. Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Together with me, there will be sharing Mr. 𝙁𝙗𝙤 and 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. Please give them also a link. In the meantime, I want to share with you 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 shares. And 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. Please give them also a link. In the meantime, I want to share with you I think there is a problem with the broadcasting. So, excuse me, seems to be a problem. Yeah, I closed already. I closed. Is it already fine? Can you hear me? Good afternoon. Can you hear me? Yes. I would like to ask you also to give the link to Mr. 𝙁𝙗𝙤 and also Miss 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. So I would like to introduce myself. I am Brother Balangkasan from University of San Carlos, Cebu City, and I am the editor-in-chief of the magazine 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤. 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 is a university magazine of the School of Architecture, Fine Arts, and Design. And we represent the view that school should not only teach existing knowledge, but it should also create new knowledge and represent its own advocacy. I enjoyed listening to your discussion, and I am very happy that I can also show something here. In 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 magazine, since 2008, teachers, students have been invited as authors to create the content. We make the layout, we redraft the drawings for the magazine needs, and we also have a 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 magazine Facebook page to reach wider audience. So I will show you this later, our contributor students. So we usually focus on something current. This year, the 500 years Christianity was very important. And that's why our current issue is focusing on 500 years Christianity. I would like to show you some pages. And the previous issues had different focuses. So it's not just only the 500 years Christianity is only our only legacy or advocacy, but we have advocacies and we have messages according to that what is around. Good, so I would like to share with you, share screen, and then I just hope that it will work. Window, yeah, okay, I will. Yes, that's it. So this is our new front cover, 500 years Christianity, but also 500 years written history of the Philippines. And you can see the different courses that are in our university. And I would like to show you, I think I have to open each separate and stop sharing and then new share. Window. Yes, so this is how we build up our articles. This is an opener, Panaf Sapaktu, about the curatorial design of the traveling exhibit. Then I want to share with you next. Share screen, window. And this is here our next, the right side of the Cathedral of Cebu. So we are very sensitive to details. Then I'm going to share you something new. This is so here you can see the big value of this edition, because we are talking about Cebu city, the history of the city, and what are the urban architecture factors that caused the development of the city and of the island. Next. Is window. This is the article of architect Roy Vincent Trani on the urban history of Cebu, how everything came into existence. And then we move to the next. I just want to show you some pages of that, so that you can have an idea about this magazine window. So this is about Manila here, the Intramuros, and also out of Intramuros, the urban fabric of Manila came into existence. And then okay, now there was a problem. Sorry for this. I'm doing my best here. Yes. So here you can see we are also about art. This is in here in the Visayas. Then I would like to continue with something else. So we are also promoting the impressions and the emotions about Cebu and about the Philippines, Philippine architecture and art. This is a photo show of a Dutch engineer who is teaching in our school, and he saw Cebu in that way. And then the last slide I want to share to you, this is about the previous issue, because it wants to show how it that's another understanding. This is last year in August 2020, we're working about townships. So as you can see, 500 years Christianity is a very old topic, but this time, last time, township is something new. And very systematically, our Lantawan took over the topic of townships. So I just would like to, I don't want to be too long, but I am very thankful for UAPSA for the cooperation. I am very happy that we can work together. We have a contract, so we always try to support UAPSA, and we try to understand in this Lantawan the issues that students have, and we really have no problems. And it just even empowers the students so that we can more and more, that they can see that they write something and it goes through, and in nationwide it can be read. So Lantawan is under Lazada, so everybody can buy it. Students have pay only half price. So this is our advocacy to see something in the Philippines, not only just a textbook, but also with our comments and with some evaluations about the processes, how architecture and art moves here in the Philippines. So thank you very much for this. And so I would like to turn over to Sir Rax and Miss Yani. They have very interesting messages to you. Thank you very much.
Hello, good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. I am Yani Valandes, and with me we have Rax Milan, one of Lantawan's Facebook page's editors. For my personally, what I've been covering is the Lantawan's Feature Friday. So the Lantawan's Feature Friday, it started as an idea to help inspire artists, especially with the lockdown and online setting, through the artworks of others. Different artists coming together to showcase their art, inspiring others, and hopefully exposing these artists to potential clients as well. Catering to its students first, the Lantawan's Feature Friday first opened up to um, the students of the University of San Carlos, and later it opened to a wider scope of artists from the rest of the city and the rest of the country. Reaching more and more people, Lantawan's Facebook page team would love to see and help share more of the different talents and works of art to the rest of the world.
So from what I know, the people on Facebook tend to have like a short attention span and skip through a lot of posting on their newsfeed. So that's why I make sure to keep it interesting and not too complicated. So a good example for this is my posting about the boot camp, which I'm going to share for a while. Here, which gained a lot of audiences. The posting is really understandable and it's quite interesting to a lot of people. So, and also I thought it would make a good posting. It resonates with a lot of people that plays video game, and also how architecture can be connected in the world of gaming, thus making this a successful posting.
We are deeply thankful. We are deeply thankful, Brother Bella, Yani, Rax, and the whole Lantawan Magazine family. Mga ka-UAPSA, para sa ating final na resolusyon, ito ay ibabahagi ng UAPSA sa kanilang Facebook page at abangan natin yan bukas. Pero muli maraming salamat sa lahat ng mga nakilahok kanina para sa resolusyong ito. Ngayon, upang wakasan ang ating programa, narito po ang ating nakaraang puno ng Balangkasan taong 2019-2020, Ginoong Alman Aaron Cabantog ng Kolehiyo ng Malayan sa Laguna para sa kanyang pangwakas na pahayag.
Magandang araw. Bago ang lahat, gusto ko lamang pasalamatan ng Panginoon para sa pagbibigay ng araw na ito upang maisagawa ang balangkasan, para sa pagpapala sa buong pulong ng balangkasan upang magampanan ang ng tungkulin, at para sa karunungan at patnubay sa bawat taong kasali, nanonood at nakikinig ngayon. Magandang araw sa inyong lahat. Una, gusto kong pasalamatan ang ating mga tagapagsalita na sina Architect 𝙤𝙤-𝙤𝙤 at Ginoong 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗀. At ating mga reaktor na sina Ginoong 𝗵𝗃𝗏, Ginoong Benedict Bien, Ginoong Zion Licop, Architect Adrian Tampolino, at Architect 𝗤𝗂𝗏 para sa paglalaan nila sa atin ng kanilang oras at karunungan para sa balangkasan na ito. Ang UAPSA Balangkasan ay mayroong isang pangunahing layunin. Ito ay makapagbigay ng plataporma kung saan ay maaari magtalakay ukol sa mga napapanahon at nauugnay ng mga issue na nakakaapekto sa komunidad ng arkitektura upang makabuo ng resolusyon na makakatulong sa buong pamayanan. At sa pamamagitan ng paksa na Student Auxiliary versus Junior Arm, Transcending the Scopes of Representation in Our Organization, ako ay naniniwala na nakamit na ang layunin. Bilang dating tagapangulo ng UAPSA Balangkasan, aking nakikita na ang balangkasan ay nakapagpatuloy na magyabong mula nung ako pa ang nakaupong puno ng komite. Kahit na ito ay ang ikalawang opisyal na balangkasan ng UAPSA pa lamang, ito ang hinaharap na nakita at gusto namin, kaya sa ngalan ng dating komite ng UAPSA Balangkasan, kami ay humahanga at nagpapasalamat ng lubos sa lahat dahil itinuloy ninyo at ipinabuti pa ang aming iniwang pamana. Isa ito sa mga huling pagbubuklod ng National Congress. Ano na nga ba ang mangyayari pagkatapos nito? Mahalaga mapagtanto nating lahat na isa lamang itong hakbang upang malutaas ang isyu na naitalakay. Mayroon pa mga bagay na dapat sabihin, ngunit ito ay isang malaking hakbang papunta sa layunin na mailinaw ang hangganan ng UAPSA bilang organisasyon na kumakatawan sa UAP o sa katawan ng mag-aral ng arkitektura. Bago ko ito opisyal na wakasan, nais kong paalalahanan ang lahat na manatiling ligtas, maghugas ng kamay, magpapakuna. Inaasahan kong lahat kayo ay magkaroon ng magandang araw at tangkilikan ang natitirang mga pagtitipon ng Pambansang Kongreso. Muli, ako si Aaron Cabantog mula sa UAPSA MCL. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Cabantog. Ayan nga kayo, UAPSA, nais po naming paalalahanan na ang mga miyembrong nakatutok ay maaaring pakisagutan ng evaluation form na makikita sa inyong mga screens at sa seksyon na komento sa Facebook Live. Uulitin ko na bukas po namin ipapakita ang final na resolusyon para sa naging Balangkasan 2021. At dito nga po nagwawakas ang ating programa, mga kayo UAPSA. Ako po muli ang inyong likod mula sa Universidad ng Adamson, Maria Gracia Barria. Maraming salamat at maganda at makabuluhang hapon sa ating lahat.
Ang 𝗕𝙗𝙖𝙤 Pagising sa Huwarang Sarili, 27th National Congress 2021. UAPSA would like to thank the following sponsors. 𝗵𝗃𝗀𝗀 Clothing, Casa Villanueva, 𝗁𝗂𝗏𝗏𝗀, CTTX, Daily Coffee and Tea, Esmeralda PH, Etudes, Fate 4.0, Foundry, 𝗂𝗏𝗄𝗎𝗓, Maker Carl 3D Printing Service. Lantawan. MicroCAD. Minicraft Studio PH. Plantaire. Skinnovate. International Academy Manila. Project Workshop.
Hi, I'm 𝙤𝙖𝙜-𝙤𝙤 from UAPSA, Forest University Chapter, representing Area B. Our national hero, 𝗁𝙗𝙗 once said, "Ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan." This quote hit me hard since it is true that children are our future's hope, but unfortunately, not all children have the capacity to succeed in life. Having experienced this kind of struggle, I strongly, loudly, and bravely voice out on behalf of the children and announce that I am supporting equal opportunities for children. As someone who didn't come from a well-off family, I grew up having those big dreams that I want to achieve in order to succeed in life. Nevertheless, I am beyond grateful to still have the privilege of such opportunities like education and scholarships. I have been teaching kids since I was 14 years old as a part of our church ministry. I have met and encountered a lot of children with great minds and big dreams, but some of them have little to none opportunities in order to succeed in life. Every child deserves a future, a good future. However, Filipino children are as yet experiencing various and deep-rooted deprivations that hinders them from participating, let alone surviving the challenges of life. With all of these matters at hand, I strongly believe that the lack of education is not the only problem, but is merely a factor that affects the incompetence of children. I believe that there is one solution, and I would like to mention a quote that was made by UNICEF. We must reimagine the future for every child. By doing so, we are not just helping the children build their future, but we are also building the future of our country along the way. It is never too late for us to do something for our children. They are waiting for us. They are calling us. They are crying to us. And it is our duty to hear them, to listen to them, and to do something for them. Thank you.
Hi, this is Valerie Arcolas, representing Area C, District C2. Growing up having my parents as my first teachers, I believe that education starts at home. In today's time, where face-to-face schools are shut down because of the pandemic, not all children have access to remote learning, which hinders them from gaining knowledge and their potential. It breaks my heart witnessing children doing their tasks just for the sake of compliance, and they miss the purpose of learning. This is why I stand for intentional learning for the purpose of developing our young generation to make a difference to our city and our country.
National Congress sa inyong tanan, mga ka-UAPSA. This is 𝐻 𝙤𝙤 from UAPSA CITU chapter representing Area C. One fact about me is that I am a bookworm, which is why I will always believe that books shouldn't be a privilege. Almost of the books I receive are all given to me. So it made me think, how will I share the happiness I get every time I receive a book? And this is how the 𝗵𝗃 project started. It only started with a post asking for used or unused books, and now it turned into an official project where almost 1,000 books were already given to different schools. Up until now, there are still a lot of schools that are waiting for their books to be transported. So let me take this chance to ask you, if you've got books to spare, reach out to me immediately. Let your books matter. Once again, this is 𝐻 representing Area C. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aldron T. Surilio, BS Architecture student of Notre Dame of the Yanges University, the Mr. United Architects of the Philippines Student Auxiliary 2021 from Area D. Architecture. In this field, everyone becomes expressive and attentive to details. However, due to the ignorance and misconceptions about the importance and levels of difficulty of art and architecture, a big number of architects and artists experience underpayment, discrimination, and lack of support. A voice has to be born in order for this to stop. Thus, as the Mr. United Architects of the Philippines Student Auxiliary 2021, I will use my platform to gather people and enlighten everyone about my advocacy. Let us stop this disrespect for artists and start fighting and demanding for what we all deserve.
Like it's nothing. She got two little horns and they give me a little bit.